Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I feel like I have the need to say, in one of my recent videos, I can't remember which, I said, hello YouTube, it's my birthday today, yeah. And that is an impression of someone called Pruain2 Forever. It wasn't actually my birthday.
Hello YouTube, it's my birthday today, yeah.
And this is how you know that astrology is a little bit of woo-woo bullshit, just pissing off all the astrology people, which seems to be like half the people online these days. So many, like I had quite a few people saying happy birthday. Some people understood the reference, but some people were like, oh, so that makes you, I believe it's Scorpio, I don't know. That makes you a Scorpio. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you seem like a Scorpio. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm an Aquarius, actually. So what does that really say about people who ardently believe in astrology? Look, I've got an open mind though. I'm open to a lot of things, like none of this being real for starters. We're all in the Matrix, but I did find that funny. No, it is not my birthday. My birthday is in, oh God, 2 months time. Actually, I'm not even that. This has nothing to do with this, but Jesus Christ. I should be a vlogger because I can just waffle on about bullshit. I'm honestly not that fussed about getting older. Some people get a bit hung up on it. I mean, I am fussed in the sense of another year closer to death. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm aging backwards. I look better than I did 4 years ago. It's down to makeup and not drinking. The only thing I really want, and putting this out into the universe right now, is to have written the first draft of a book before my birthday. That's it, really. Not really fussed about the other stuff. So anyway, today's video is the third House of Night book. Book 3, Chosen. I wrote this script in less than 2 days. Can you believe it? I've still not caught up on my sleep yet. And I'm going to do something I've probably never done on these videos. I'm going to sit here and do the entire video in one go. So let's start suffering today. I'm not going to hold your hand if you've not seen the first nor the second video I've done about this book series. I'm not going to bother explaining certain things because I think you should watch the other ones, get up to speed, and then watch this. For most people, when they say watch the first videos I've done on this, usually they mean about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Mine are all like 2 hours or so long on these books. So you've got to really take up a chunk of your day to catch up on this. I'm just going to assume you all know what I'm talking about. But first, remember to like, dislike, comment, and subscribe. It really helps, especially with the subscriber glitch and whatnot. Also, follow my new Instagram, and I might just follow you back. I won't. That's the joke. But first, this video is sponsored by LightMe. LightMe is an innovative and customer-focused brand who specializes in designing and developing next-level smart lighting. This kind of smart lighting will take your domestic life moments to the next level. LightMe has launched a flagship series, the LightMe Fantasy Plus. LightMe Fantasy Plus includes a TV backlight, light bars, light strip, and sync box. The visual effect of them all connected is stunning. If you pair the Neo Sync box with any HDMI-capable devices such as Apple TV, game consoles including Xbox and PlayStation, or a laptop, you can transform your living room into a unique home theater, gaming space, or anything you're creative for. The setup is simple and takes minutes. Install the cut-free light strip on the back of your TV/PC from 55 to 90 inches, and then link up to the sync box. You're all set to experience a new way of watching and immersing. LightMe supports 4K 60Hz. It fits almost all TV sizes. It is truly immersive, a magic box that can unlock full surround lighting in your home. LightMe has dynamic color mapping. The Neo Sync box's advanced color sync technology captures every color pixel from your screen to synchronize into lighting that's accurate and outstanding. The light strip's RGBIC chip brings 16 million shades of color and light to selectively process and display richer, brighter colors for your immersive watching experience. LightMe is supported by voice assistants including Amazon Alexa and Google Assist. LightMe has vibrant color reproduction. It can process up to 500 pixel dots and apply them to the light strip with ARGB LED to ensure vibrant color reproduction in sync mode. And you control this all via the LightMe app, which you can download on the App Store or Google Play. With LightMe's self-developed interactive lighting technology Color Sync, this kit opens up the possibility to turn your living room, bedroom, and other spaces into the right atmosphere for watching a great movie, playing your favorite games, or any other creative entertaining purposes. You can transform your gaming setup, have lighting for movies, and sync up your music. Feel like you're at the movies while you're on your own couch. Enjoy immediate and immersive light effects that match what's happening on your screen. And right now, LightMe have a huge discount for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. 20% off during the 25th to the 28th of November. So make sure you check the link in my description to get your discount. Thank you, LightMe, for sponsoring today's video. Book 3, let's go. There is a 1-page highlight preface Let's ignore it. A preface in a book, it's like a trailer for the book. It's pointless because I'm about to read the book anyway. I don't want to have to repeat myself later on. Do you know who does this? Do you know? Podcasters. Right, I missed the memo on how you need to have a 1.5 minute to 2 minute highlight clips of the podcast show. You've reeled me in already. If I'm sitting there and I've clicked on your podcast, I'm gonna listen to it. You've reeled me in, unless it's super boring. You don't need to convince me, because these things, these little highlights before the actual main subject, it's like, well, trailers, and the purpose of a trailer is to convince you to go watch the film. I'm already convinced. I've already got this book. I've already started listening to this podcast. You don't stop wasting my time, basically. Jack Mate's Happy Hour and Diary of a CEO, they do it. Countless other people do it. I will never do it. If I do, I'm going to delete all my channels. Touch wood. Maybe there's something in the SEO that actually makes it worthwhile to have that mate. Well, in that case, then I'll eat my words. This one is for all of you who have emailed us wanting more and more and more of Zoey and the gang. We hurt you. Whoever sent these emails, I look down on you, putting it lightly. From PC, I think that's the mum. I don't remember. Yes, it is the mum. Thank you to all my students who are always begging me to put them in these books and kill them off. Y'all are great comedic fodder. I don't think they were on about being in the books. Chapter 1. Yep, I have a seriously sucky birthday, I told my cat Nala. Complaining already. Do you think about anyone other than yourself? This, of course, is Zoey Redbird, our favourite protagonist. Anyway, I kept talking to the cat as if she hung on my every word, which is so not the case. It's been 17 years of sucky December 24th birthdays. I'm totally used to it by now. No big deal. I knew I was saying the words just to convince myself. Nala, me, oud. What an annoying cat. Take it to the pound. At me in her grumpy old lady cat voice, then settled down to lick her privates, clearly showing that she understood I was full of BS. Actually, I changed her mind. Good on the cat. Nala is the most relatable person in this book. Here's the deal, I continued as I finished smudging a little liner on my eyes. And I mean a little. The line your eyes till you look like a scary raccoon is definitely not the look for me. Actually, it's not the look for anyone. Millions of emos worldwide are shaking in their Doc Martens. I'm going to get a bunch of well-meaning presents that aren't really birthday presents. There's stuff that's Christmas themed because people always try to mush my birthday with Christmas, and that seriously doesn't work. I met Nala's big green eyes in the mirror, but we're going to smile and pretend we're fine with the dorky birthmas gifts because I love this book series so much. I just love how stupid it is. Because people do not get that they can't mush a birthday into Christmas, at least not successfully. Oh no, poor me, getting presents from people who clearly give a shit about me. Zoey takes a moment to finger her beautiful and special tattoos. You're not like anyone else, I whispered to my reflection. It's page 3 and we have the obligatory, you're the most uniquest specialist fledgling snowflake to ever flake or fledge. Zoey has received a Christmas card from her mum and stepfather. I love it. This is vulgar, this next bit. I love it. You're right. Might as well get it over with. I reluctantly opened the envelope and pulled out the card. Ah, hell. It's worse than I thought. There was a huge wooden cross on the front of the card. Staked to the middle of the cross with a bloody nail was an old-time scroll-like paper. Written in blood, of course. I don't know if this is meant to be funny or not. He is the reason for the season. Inside the card was printed in red letters, Merry Christmas. Below that, in my mum's handwriting, it said, I hope you're remembering your family during this blessed time of the year. Happy birthday, love, mum and dad. In what universe would someone think that is a nice card for Christmas or someone's birthday? Zoe's family is like the Westboro Baptist Church, but more awful. I love this book. It's so weird. My marks aren't like anyone else's. Might as well give the masses something to gawk at while they talk, I muttered. Page 4, and another mention of how unique she is. Also, Zoey, don't pretend that you don't love the attention, because we know that she does. Zoey misses Stevie Ray, who is her ex-roommate who died but then came back to life, and best friend. No matter how melodramatic and bad B-movie that sounded, the truth was that right now, when Stevie Ray should have been downstairs puttering around with my lame birthday details, she was actually lurking about somewhere in the old tunnels under Tulsa, conspiring with other disgusting undead creatures who are truly evil, as well as definitely bad smelling. Yeah, because that's what matters, isn't it? Oh yeah, sure, that serial killer killed people and ate their flesh, but the worst part was he stank. Damien meets her and quizzes her on why she's moody. While I hesitated, trying to figure out what I should or could say to Damien, he raised one neatly plucked brow and in his best schoolteacher voice said, "You know how sensitive my people are to emotions, so you may as well just give up and tell me the truth." I sighed again. "You gays are freakishly intuitive. That's us, homos. The few, the proud, the hypersensitive. All gay people are empaths, clearly, and being gay is Damien's sole personality trait." Zoe tells Damien she misses Stevie Ray. I laughed and felt a little of the tightness in my chest begin to loosen. There's just something about Stevie Ray, it's the right way around, that makes me feel good. I didn't realise that I'd used the present test until Damien's teary smile faltered. "Yeah, she was great," he said, with an extra emphasis on the "was," while he looked at me like he was worried about my sanity. And I don't feel like the usage of present tense in this scenario is something that people would notice. Yes, Damien is apparently smart, though begs to be seen in the text itself. But I also feel like if you do notice someone do that, you'd have enough emotional intelligence to maybe not correct them, because it could just be a slip of the tongue. You know, you don't need to be like, "Yeah, she was, because she's dead." You know, she's dead, right? Because Zoe clearly does know that, well, she's dead, but also come back to, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I smiled and nodded appropriately as Damien went on and on about his quest for the perfect present. Usually, he isn't so overtly gay. Not that the fabulous Damien Maslin isn't actually gay. He totally is. But he's also a tall, brown-haired, big-eyed cutie who looks like he'd be excellent boyfriend material, which he is. If you're a boy. He's not a fluttery acting gay kid, but gets the boy talking about shopping and he definitely shows some girlish tendencies. I've had enough already. Not that I don't like that about him. I think he looks cute when he gushes about the importance of buying really good shoes. And right then, his babbling was soothing. It was helping me get ready to face the bad presents that sadly waited for me. Wait, Damien's gay? What the hell? Why didn't no one tell me this? Zoe arrives at her birthday party with her friends. Happy, said the twins. Happy, shut up, said the twins together. Okay, they're not genetically twins. Oh boy. Erin Bates is a very white girl from Tulsa, and Shawnee Cole is a lovely caramel-coloured girl of Jamaican-American descent who grew up in Connecticut. But the two are so freakishly alike that what the hell is a tin tone? Skin tone and region, Tintin, make absolutely no difference. They're soul twins, which is way closer than mere biology. I am very sure that in the previous book, Shawnee has been described as mocha-coloured, latte-coloured, now she's caramel. And I'm also very sure that all of these colours are different colours. Make your mind up. Maybe the cast duo were just hungry when they wrote these books. Eric is also there. He is one of Zoe's boyfriends. Her other boyfriend is a human called Heath. Eric is not happy about this, but he puts up with it for some reason. "Hey Eric, why don't you spread some of that birthday sugar around?" Shawnee wagged her eyebrows at my grinning boyfriend. "Yeah, sweet thang," Erin said, and in typical twin fashion mirrored Shawnee's eye waggle. Yeah, I can't do that. "How about a little B-Day kiss over here?" I rolled my eyes at the twins. It's not his birthday. You only get to kiss the birthday boy or girl." "Damn," Shawnee said. "I love Yeezy, but I don't want to kiss ya." "Just please with the same-sex kissing," Erin said, and then she grinned at Damien, who was gazing adoringly at Eric. I'll leave that to Damien. All of these people are annoying, and all of the dialogue between when the little gang are together is abysmal. Damien has a boyfriend now, Jack Twist. His sole personality trait is being Damien's boyfriend. It's like, if he was a real person, I would feel so embarrassed for him. I think I dislike him more than Damien, because there's no purpose to him being there other than to be their little lapdog who runs around fetching things for them. I know. But I had to make sure it was wrapped just right, Jack said, with a flourish that only a gay boy can pull off. He reached into the man purse, looped over his arm and lifted it the way that the cast do. I thought they were being so progressive with this. I love it. And lifted out a box wrapped in red foil with a green sparkly bow on it that was so big it practically swallowed the package. I made the box myself. Jack is a third former, a freshman, a new kid, cute but kind of dorky, and definitely gay. No way. Oh my God, why didn't they say anything before? Eric could have made a big deal about being stuck with a... Okay. Damien celebrates half-week anniversaries with his boyfriend. I hope it doesn't last for more than a month. Zoe opens her presents, which is the first present as a snow globe. 1 chapter down, 1 billion more to go. Chapter 2. Oh, it's beautiful. I stroked my hand over the folded material of the scarf, thoroughly shocked that I'd actually gotten a cool gift. It's cashmere, Damien said smugly. I lifted it from the box, thrilled that it was a chic, shimmery cream colour instead of the red or green Birthmas presents I usually get. Then I froze, realising I'd been thrilled too soon. See the snowmen embroidered on the ends, Damien said. Aren't they adorable? Yep, adorable, I said. Sure. For Christmas, they're adorable. For a birthday present, not so much. Get over yourself. It's cashmere. That's okay, I said a little too quickly and enthusiastically, and then tore into their package. Inside was a pair of black leather stiletto boots that would have been utterly cool and chic and fabulous had it not been for the Christmas trees, complete with red and gold ornaments that were stitched in full colour on each side of the boot. To be fair, that doesn't sound like it looks very nice. This can only be worn at Christmas, which makes it definitely a lame birthmas present. Ungrateful. But speaking of Christmas and Christmas presents, I have new merch now over at my site ayclothing.tmail.com. It is 20% off of everything that I can, because you can't do discount codes. I manually decreased everything by 20%, but some things like the jigsaw puzzle that was already at the lowest amount that Tmail would allow, so I couldn't apply a discount to that. But we have a new festive edition of the Die Cry Hate line. We have new jumpers, a hoodie, tote bags, and a jigsaw puzzle. It's the perfect Christmas gift for any Scrooges in your life. Or if you have to wear Christmas jumpers to work, buy one of mine. Get your point across. The 20% discount is for Black Friday and will be applicable for up to a week. And then it's business as usual. And the normal Die Cry Hate limited edition t-shirt is finally going to be taken down so it can make way for more limited editions. So if you've wanted one, you better snap it up whilst the sale is on, because once it's gone, it's probably, touch wood, never coming back. So go to my clothing store, ayclothing.tmail.com, and cop yourself some new merch. Back to the video. Eric has the final gift. I glanced down at the box before I took it and almost squealed in happy surprise. Eric was holding a silver and gold wrap present with a Moody's fine jewellery sticker plastered classily in the middle of it. I swear I heard the hallelujah. Hallelujah chorus crescendo somewhere in the background. It's from Moody's. I sounded breathless, but I couldn't help myself. Moody's means nothing to me. Don't know what that is. All I'm thinking of now is Mad Eye Moody. Very festive. The first thing I noticed was the gleaming platinum chain. Speechless with happiness, my eyes followed the chain down to the beautiful pearls that were nestled into the plush velvet. Velvet! Platinum! Pearls! I sucked in air so I could begin my gushing. Oh my god, oh my god, thank you, Eric, you're the best boyfriend ever. When I realised that the pearls were oddly shaped. Were they defective? Had the fabulous, the exclusive and amazingly expensive Moody's fine jewellery, jewellery store ripped off my boyfriend? Then I realised what I was seeing. The pearls were shaped into a snowman. So what, you little brat? Shut up, you mug. I hate you. Zoe fake smiles and says a fake thank you for the presents that she hates. Aphrodite appears to sneer at the group because she is the best character. She's such a total bitch, Damien said. You'd think she would have learned her lesson when you took the Dark Daughters from her. And Nephire proclaimed that the goddess had withdrawn her gifts from Aphrodite. Eric said, but that girl will never change. Thank you for the exposition dump, Eric. That is a totally natural way of speaking. Zoe has a present via parcel. As they floated to the table, I peeked inside the box and sucked in a shocked breath. Lying on a bed of white cotton was the most beautiful silver bracelet I'd ever seen. I picked it up, oohing and... Why is my face itchy? I picked it up, oohing and ahhing at the twinkling charms. There were starfish and seashells. Seashells. She sells seashells on the seashore. She sells seashells on the seashore. She sells seashells on the seashore. Seashells on the seashore. She sells seashells on the seashore. She sells seashells on... Seashells and seahorses, and each of them was separated by adorable little silver hearts. It's absolutely perfect, I said, fastening it to my wrist. I wonder who could have sent it to me. Laughing, I turned my wrist this way and that, letting the gaslighting. A card slips out, which everyone reads while Zoe isn't looking. First of all, rude. Then everyone gets mad at her for it. If you go snooping, something, gift horse in the mouth, it serves them right for snooping in the first place. Zoe, happy birthday. Hello, Zoe, it's my birthday today. Yeah. I know how much you hate. That's an amazing impression. Go look at Pretty Two Forever. Happy birthday. Type it into Google. I should be a voice actor on the telly and stuff. I know how much you hate those lame birthmas presents that try to mush your B-day of Christmas, so I sent you something I know you'll like. Hey, it doesn't have anything to do with Christmas. Duh. It's from Heath, her human boyfriend. Everyone gets mad at her for this. Please, just please, why didn't you tell anyone that you don't like birthday presents that have anything to do with Christmas? Shawnee asked in her usual no-nonsense way. Yeah, all you had to do was say something, Erin said. I said succinctly. Sounds like a lack of communication on both ends, because I don't know about you guys, but when it's people's birthdays and I want to get them stuff, I'll say, hey, what do you want for your birthday? I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed at this next bit. Looks like Heath knows more about what you like than we do. Eric's voice was flat and emotionless, but his eyes were dark with hurt, which made my stomach clench. How is this even a contentious point? Heath has known Zoe for most of her life. They've been on-off dating since the 3rd grade or something. These guys have known her for 2 months. Of course, Heath is going to know her, but are you dumb? Are you mad? I hate you, Eric, you stupid idiot. Zoe literally thinks what I just wrote and then decides to walk off. I turned around and looked at my group of friends. I didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm sorry if Heath's note made you guys feel bad, but that's not my fault. And I did tell someone that I don't like it when people try to mush my birthday together with Christmas. I told Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray is undead. She's hardly going to tell the rest of the gang, is she? And she's been undead for about a month. So you think that maybe this topic would have come up. Maybe Zoe might have mentioned it to someone. No. It's a bit of a weird flex to throw their dead friend in their face like that. Do you know what I mean? I did tell someone. I told Stevie Ray she's dead and I hate you all. Chapter 3. Zoe goes to Starbucks to meet her grandma, probably to get a pumpkin spice latte at the same time. Oh, Zoe Bird, I've missed you. Uetsiagea, the Cherokee word for daughter. We know. Don't let my script fool you with how aggressive it sounds. I laughed, proper joyous laughter when I saw that line. The Cherokee word for daughter. Oh, it made me feel so. This book makes me laugh a lot. It's not even a love-hate relationship. It's a love. I admire how foolish this series is. I mean, no ill will to the cast duo. It's not like how Stephanie Meyer confuddles me and annoys me, or how I just genuinely detest E.L. James for what she did to women's sex lives everywhere, BDSM, etc. I enjoy rinsing this book. I'm sure the authors wouldn't feel the same if they watched this, but just know that I have gotten some pleasure out of this cast duo. No, that's why I'm wearing this jacket. I glanced around to make sure no one was watching us. Then I brushed back my hair and flipped down the shoulder of the jacket so that the sapphire lacework on the back of my neck and shoulder was visible. Oh, Zoe Bird, it's just so magical, Grandma said softly. I'm so proud that the goddess has chosen you as special and marked you so uniquely. If Zoey Redbird isn't told about how special she is every other page, then she will spontaneously combust. Zoe's mum appears for no good reason at all other than to bother Zoe. That was before you said you were meeting her here, Mum told Grandma. Then she frowned at me. It's not like Zoe invited me to come herself, but then I'm used to having an inconsiderate daughter. Piss off, Linda. Zoe hates birthday cake. Shut up, Zoe. Piss off as well. Doesn't it look good? Nice and Christmassy, Mum said as she tried to pick off the half-price sticker from the lid of the box. Then she froze and looked at me with overly wide eyes. But you don't celebrate Christmas anymore, do you? I found the fake smile I'd been using earlier and replanted it on my face. We celebrate Yule, or winter solstice, which was 2 days ago. That might have been a nice scene to read. Too bad, we'll never know. Grandma gives Zoe a blooming lavender plant. I grinned at her. You think of everything. I glanced at my mum and saw that she had the blank look on her face that I knew meant she wished she was somewhere else. I wanted to ask her why she had bothered to come at all, but the pain closed my throat, which surprised me. I had thought that I had grown up beyond her ability to hurt me. Seems the actual truth of being 17 wasn't as old as I'd imagined. Seems the actual truth of being 17 wasn't as old. Go to hell, Linda. Grandma also got Zoe a first edition signed copy of Dracula. Apparently she just found it in a bookstore. What are the chances of that? Linda decides to start being racist about vampires, but then she apologises for it quickly afterwards. She's being very quirky and random. Linda's present to Zoe is the People of the Faith's Bible, which these people basically are the in-universe version of the Westboro Baptist Church. But they're more against vampires rather than the Westboro Baptist Church here are against everyone. So they're against other Christians as well, from what I've seen, which is funny. The Bible is inscribed with a fake family tree, which pretends that Zoe's stepdad is her real father. Zoe has a go at her mum, and John just pops out from behind a plant because he was eavesdropping the entire time, because that's an entirely not suspicious thing. Like if you were the staff at Starbucks and some guy was just like loitering around a plant pot, eavesdropping on Free Woman nonetheless, wouldn't you say something? I know that entitled parents do exist, because check out the r/entitled parents subreddit, but this feels a bit cartoonish. So you're choosing evil and darkness, he said. It's her birthday. Wind your neck in, mate. Chill out. No, I'm choosing a loving goddess who has marked me as her own and gifted me with special powers. I choose a different way than you. That's all there is to it. As I said, you choose evil. Why does this religious divide even exist? Nyx, who is the goddess of the vampires, demonstrably exists with in-book evidence. Like, she shows up to Zoey whenever Zoey feels like it. Why doesn't she show herself to the humans so they can stop persecuting the vampires with all the talks of false gods, etc., etc.? I've said before in like the previous video, is Nyx the only god or is she one of many? Because if she is the only god, she clearly does not give a single shit about humans. And if she's one of many, why don't any of the others turn up in the book or what? I'd just like some clarification, because without clarification, to me, it feels like a lot of the conflict between the vampires and the humans in this book could be avoided easily, considering that Nyx provably exists. It is good for a wife to submit unto her husband, John said. I thought about mentioning how chauvinistic and patronising and just plain wrong that sounded, but I decided not to waste my breath and said, John, go to hell. She should use her special powers to set him on fire. No one would mind that. Zoey and Grandma leave. Chapter 4. They go for cake somewhere else. No, I want cake. Your mum's a weak woman who can only find her identity through a man. You didn't tell her, Grandma, she said as she sipped her red wine. Unfortunately, she chose a really bad man. I love that. Of course, do remember that the cast duo live for bashing other women, but Grandma is right. Broken clocks and all that. Zoey complains to Grandma about how hard her life is because she has friends who buy her presents and she has 2 boyfriends. Maybe you should go home and make it right, Grandma said. Then when she saw my startled look, she said, I mean, make the birthday present issue right, not the Heath and Eric issue. Why is that little greater than, less than arrow there? This happens, I think, 2 more times in the book. No one proofreads these. Proof. There. Evidence. After they part, Zoey drives downtown and expositions to us about the previous book's plot, which is only really useful if you haven't already read the first 2 books. But then, if you haven't read the first 2 books, why would you join a series? 4, 8, 12, a third. Quick maths. Why would you join a series a quarter of the way through? No, wait, because it's the third one. A fifth? No, because there's 12. Oh my God. I need to go back to school. Regardless, why would you randomly start on book 3 and not read the first 2? This is just glorified filler. All right, I said aloud. It's my birthday. It's my birthday today. And an exceedingly crappy birthday it has been, even for me. So, Nyx, I'm going to ask for only one birthday favour from you. I want to find Stevie Ray. As if a goddess doesn't have more important things to do with her time than grant Zoey a birthday wish. I want to find Stevie Ray, I added a hasty please. As Damien would remind me, when speaking to one's goddess, it was best to be polite. I hadn't really expected any kind of answer, so when the words roll down your window kept drifting around in my mind, I thought they were lyrics to a song on the radio. I bet the majority of the vampires go their entire lives without ever hearing Nyx speak to them directly, but here, Zoey has this direct access to her. Like they're always on the phone, but it's connected through their consciousness or something. Favoritism. If I was a vampire in this, I would be pissed off at the clear favoritism one annoying brat keeps getting over everyone else. Zoey smells bad eggs and goes to hunt for the scent. Ugh, it was too horrible to ignore. Still sniffing like a dog. Still insisting on using that, huh? I watched a comedy special the other night by someone called Gabriel Iglesias. And he was going on, there was a whole segment about cancel culture and about how certain things just weren't offensive at certain times and it's folly to continuously apologise for it. You know, if you feel it's necessary to apologise for, do it once. Fine. But don't constantly self-flagellate after that point. Apologise once, then move on. And if other people don't want to move on, well, it depends on the severity of right. However, constantly apologising would feel like, I think it's a little bit insincere. You know, say it once, move on, done. But my point is, at the time of these books being published, it was offensive to say that word even then. That was my point with that whole segment. Zoey finds Stevie Ray sucking the blood of a homeless person and stops her, but then just dabs on the homeless because she's such a nice person. I'm not going anywhere until we talk, so let go of that street person. Eesh, Stevie Ray. She probably has lice and who knows what else. Homeless people have enough problems going on without you mocking them, but okay. Great and powerful protagonist. Okay, nasty. Just nasty. And for your information, Heath is not my boy toy. He's my boyfriend. Or one of them anyway. I sucked his blood kind of sort of by accident. I was going to tell you about it, but you died. So no, I do not want to bite that person. I don't even know where she's been. I gave the poor wide-eyed matted-haired woman a weak smile. No offense, ma'am. Shut up, Zoey. Zoey uses air to spirit the woman away from Stevie Ray. And then they begin arguing. Well, hell no, you don't look like Stevie Ray. How long has it been since you've washed your hair? And what are you wearing? I pointed at the sweatpants and oversized shirt that were covered by a long, nastily stained black trench coat like the ones those freaky goth kids like to wear even when it's 100 degrees outside. No one is safe from being dabbed on. Zoe wants to sneak Stevie Ray back into the dorm, which is a terrible idea because what about all the other fledglings or when the vampires return? She's an idiot. She's an idiot, and yet the goddess loves her. Zoe, I have to feed. That's not eating cereal or sandwiches and drinking brown pop. I have to have blood. Human blood. If I don't, she paused and I saw a terrible shudder move through her body. If I don't, the pain is a gnawing, burning hunger that I can't stand. And you need to understand that I want to feed. I want to tear open human throats and drink that warm blood so filled with terror and anger and pain that it makes me dizzy. She paused again, this time breathing heavily. You can't really want to kill people, Stevie Ray. You're wrong. I do. It's been a month since they've seen each other, but this is clearly an admission from Stevie Ray that she has been murdering people to feed from them. But I guess because they're homeless, who cares, right? I'm pretty sure there's never any real guilt from her about this either. That during this time period, she straight up murdered loads of people. I guess if humans already mean nothing to Nyx, then homeless people must mean less than nothing. Zoe convinces Stevie Ray to meet her tomorrow so she can help her. Chapter 5. Stevie Ray runs off, so Zoe goes to IHOP for pancakes. These books are such a blow-by-blow account of Zoe's day. No task is deemed too mundane to edit out. Zoe goes back to the school and goes to the temple to pray. And then I prayed to my goddess, but I'll admit that the way I pray sounds a lot like just talking. This isn't because I mean any disrespect to Nyx. It's just the way I am. Because you're just so special that you're allowed to do that. From the first day I was marked and the goddess appeared to me, I felt close to her, like she really cares about what happens in my life, versus being a nameless god on high who looks down on me with a frown and a notebook he's all too ready to fill out passes to hell on. She does care about what happens in your life, everyone else's not so much. While praying, Eric turns up out of nowhere because he's a pound-lound Edward Cullen. Eric is hassling Zoe about how she can return her necklace or whatever, like he cares anyway. My hand went up to touch the pearl snowman, now that I could lose it, and Eric. I suddenly realised it was kind of cute. Eric was more than kind of cute. They start to make up. Intimidating, he pulled back so he could look at me. You've got to be kidding, he laughed again. I frowned up at him. Why are you laughing at me? He hugged me and said, Z, do you have any clue what it's like to date the girl who is the most powerful fledgling in the history of vampires? It's almost like every character is under contractual obligation to continuously remind us that Zoe is number one. It's like the cast duo are worried that if we aren't reminded, we're just going to forget. Zoe wants to tell Eric what's going on, but then she gets a powerful feeling that tells her to shut up, which is just Nyx puppeteering her as usual. Eric takes her rejection as, well, it's about Heath, isn't it? Because of course it has to be about another boy and less to do with her best friend dying last month in a pool of their own blood vomit. Eric didn't say anything for several breaths, and when he did speak, he sounded way older than almost 19 and more than a little sad. I can't compete with an imprint, I know that, and I'm not trying to. I just thought you and I had something special. We'll last a lot longer than some biological thing you have with a human. You and I are alike, and you and Heath aren't. At least not anymore. Eric, you're not competing with Heath. I researched imprinting. It's about sex. It's also not really her fault that this blood bond thing happened anyway. She had no idea about it, and she had a taste of his blood, and it happened. So instead of harping on her about something that she can't control and that's not really her fault in the first place, he should just break up with her. That's my answer for everything. Naturally, I got defensive. I'm still a virgin, Eric, and I'm not ready to change that. I didn't say you. Sounds like you're getting me mixed up with your last girlfriend, I interrupted. The one I saw on her knees in front of you trying to give you another blowjob. Oh, another blowjob. Yeah, that's kind of what people do if they feel comfortable and they're in a relationship. Okay, it was really not fair of me to bring up the nasty incident I accidentally witnessed between Aphrodite and him. I hadn't even known Eric back then, but at the moment picking a fight with him seemed a lot easier than talking about the bloodlust I definitely felt for Heath. This is the time that Aphrodite assaulted Eric right at the beginning of the first book. It's never treated as such though, it's just treated as, oh, she's a slut and a hoe and he liked it. As such, because it's not treated as assault, even though it is, quite clearly, we can't treat it as that. It's just the handling of the cast do it, they just don't know what they're writing about is my point. Besides that, even though the writers, I'm pretty sure accidentally wrote a scene where a boy was getting assaulted by this girl just so they could justify Zoe calling her a slut forevermore. Aphrodite is still the best character in this book, even though that happened. What does that tell you about the caliber of writing for the rest of the book? They stopped fighting and snog instead. He tasted as good as he smells, so the kiss was nice, and somewhere in the middle of it, I realised how long it had been since Eric and I had had a good hot makeout session. I mean, I'm no hoe like Aphrodite, but I'm not a nun either. Told you what I tell you. Also, why in the middle of snogging Eric does Zoey just start randomly thinking about Aphrodite? Lives rent-free in their heads. You feel so good, he whispered against my lips. So do you, I whispered back. Pressing myself against him, I deepened the kiss. And then on impulse, hoish impulse at that, I took his hand from the small of my back and moved it up so he was cupping the side of my breast. Oh my God, you absolute slag. I can't believe, bloody hell. Scarlet woman. Why is she being so misogynistic to herself? Like, it's not a big deal. Calm down. She's 17, right? When I was 17, I think the majority of my friend group had already had sex by then. Ooh, he touched her side boob. Calm down. During their makeout, Eric's lip accidentally bleeds, so Zoey starts to lick it, but they get interrupted by Lauren Blake, Zoey's potential and secret third boyfriend. Oh yeah, he's also a teacher at the school. At this point, I realised, hold on a second. Aren't they still in the temple? Just having a good old snogging makeout sesh in front of a statue of Nyx. Maybe don't fool around with boys in your God's place of worship. What are you? The Vatican? Chapter 6. Oh, hi. I stuttered. And because that didn't sound stupid enough, I blurted, "You're in Europe." I was. Just got back this evening. So how was Europe? Calm and collected, Eric draped an arm nonchalantly around my shoulders. Lauren's smile got wider as he looked from Eric to me. Not as friendly as it is here. Why is Eric not more concerned that a whole ass adult vampire fancies his teenage girlfriend? Wouldn't you go and, I don't know, tell the principal about how inappropriate that is? That a teacher fancies a student, or is dick swinging more important? Naturally, Zoey is embarrassed by being caught because she fancies Lauren. Lauren leaves. I'm not embarrassed. I'm glad he saw us, Eric said smugly. You're glad? Since when has public making out been a turn on for you? Great. Eric was a kinky freak boy and I was just finding out now. Public making out isn't a turn on, but I'm still glad Blake saw us. All the fun had gone out of Eric's voice and his smile had turned grim. I don't like the way he looks at you. My stomach lurched. What do you mean? How does he look at me? Like you're not a student and he's not a teacher. He paused. So you haven't noticed? Again, maybe go tell the head teacher about it, Nefere. Maybe. Ofsted. Someone. The police. Eric, I think you're crazy. I carefully didn't answer the question. Lauren doesn't look at me like anything. My heart was thumping like it would beat its way out of my chest. Hell yes, I'd noticed how Lauren looked at me. Way noticed it. OMG, Zoey, is this gaslighting? Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. My name's Madison with a Y. Well, it's not where you think. Zoey is successful in her gaslighting and Eric is all like, oh, I do trust you. His funeral. You know I'm crazy about you, Z, he said as he bent and nuzzled my ear. I wish it wasn't so late. I shivered. Me too. But I could see the sky was starting to get light over his shoulder. Plus, I was exhausted. Between my birthday, my mum and step loser, and my undead best friend, I really needed some alone time to think and a good solid night's, or, in our case, days, sleep. But that didn't stop me from snuggling into Eric. I'm not surprised she's so tired. Look at how much the authors have her running around and doing stuff in the space of, 6 hours? Friends, grandma, mum, grandma again, seeing Stevie Ray, then Eric, then Lauren. No wonder she's exhausted. Characters should not be exploited for labour like this. They deserve equal rights too. Unionize. Why did I write that? Zoey needs someone to replace Stevie Ray as the affinity for Earth in the next full moon ritual, so Eric offers to take her place. Zoey's friends see her and then seemingly just forgive her for earlier. Geesh, he's a sweet kid. I grinned at him. Thanks, honey. Then I looked at the rest of my friends. Sorry I was such a butt earlier. I really do like my presents. Well, she didn't say that she didn't like them. She was fake nice about it, and they would have been none the wiser had they not read that card, so... Did she really do anything wrong? Besides being ungrateful in the first place. Which means you'll be wearing your presents, Shawnee said with her sharp, chocolate-coloured eyes narrowed at me. Cast duo. Go grab a snack. Are you hungry? Do you just want chocolate or something? What is this? Yeah, you'll be wearing those totally hot boots we spent $295.52 on, Erin added. I gulped. Ooh. Shawnee and Erin's family had money. I, on the other hand, was definitely not used to owning $300 boots. She says this, right? But in the first two, she specifically says that she has this Ralph Lauren comforter thing for her bed. She has these Jim Maui sunglasses. She name drops brands of stuff that she owns. And if you look up how expensive, it's expensive stuff. So you are lying. You are a liar. Try to seem more relatable to people. Shut up, Cast Duo. Do you not check? Do you not keep a note of all the stuff that you... Do you not remember? Do you have memories of a goldfish? Goldfish have better memories than you, actually. Dead ones at that. Flushed down the toilet. You can't trick me, is my point. Actually, now that I realise how expensive they were, I was liking them more and more. Yep, I'll be wearing those fine boots. I mimic Shawnee. You shallow little twit. End scene. Chapter 7. New scene. It is Saturday. Zoe is drinking a can of unbranded pop. Nature is healing. Zoe is going to the library to try to research how to purify Stevie Ray. Ultimately, she doesn't find a spell, but I thought that she might because I forgot what happened. To which I said, if there is a ritual in a book somewhere to make undead Stevie Ray more alive again, that is bizarrely specific. So how often has this happened throughout vampiric history that there's a spell in the first place? Actually, I wasn't for sure what they did when a fledgling did something typically teenage and moronic. Actually, I wasn't for sure. Sounds a bit off to me. I think they accidentally left 4 in. Actually, I wasn't for sure. I don't know. I don't think that these books are proofread by anyone outside of the mother or the daughter. Turns out stupidity truly is hereditary. Apparently, if people are naughty, the vampires will do something, and it scares everyone, but they never specify what it is. So Zoe is theorising. Rumour had it that the vamps would banish the miscreant. Miscreant. That was one of Damien's vocab words. Oh my god, you're 17. Shut up. For varying periods of time. Which meant that the kid could get really sick, as in drowning in his own disintegrating bodily tissues and dying. I don't know if we ever do find out what does happen, but this is called attempted murder. What the hell? This school is cursed. What, you cheated on your homework, time for isolation, and you could start coughing up blood. Zoe is researching at the library when she is interrupted by ladies' favourite, renowned sex pest nonce Lauren Blake. No, I said way too quickly. So I laughed, trying for a gay, carefree tone. Gay, hee hee. Lauren smiled. Why would that be embarrassing to admit? I wouldn't have imagined you as one of those silly women who think that being well-read and well-educated is an embarrassment. I felt my cheeks start to get warm. He'd called me a woman, which was way better than him calling me a fledgling or a kid. He always made me feel so grown, so womanly. Yeah, that's what all groomers do. You're so mature for your age. Run, Zoe, run. Oh no, that's not it. It's embarrassing because it sounds kind of conceited to assume that I'm actually going to be High Priestess one day. Zoe, you are Nyx's most honoured, most specialist fledgling ever. Of course you're going to be High Priestess. Don't pretend to be modest. It doesn't work on me. I think that assumption is just good common sense and justifiable self-confidence. His smile warmed till I swear I could feel the heat of it against my skin. I have always been drawn to confident women. God, he made my toes squidge. Stranger danger, stranger danger. You don't have any idea how special you are, do you, Zoe? You're unique, not like the rest of the fledglings. You're a goddess among those who think themselves demigods. Oh God, myself, I hate this guy. Lauren starts touching her face and then gives us this absolute bombshell about Shakespeare. Shakespeare, he murmured as his thumb brushed softly over the line of tattoos that decorated my cheekbone. It's from one of the sonnets he wrote to the Dark Lady, who was his true love. We know, of course, that he was a vampire. Every historical figure is retconned as a vampire in this series, FYI. But we believe the true love of his life was a young girl who had been marked and who died as a fledgling without completing the change. I thought adult vampires weren't supposed to have relationships with fledglings. How are you going to retcon Shakespeare into both being a vampire and a nonce? Well, maybe it was just the style at the time.
So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time.
We're not supposed to. It's highly improper. But sometimes there's an attraction that happens between two people that transcends the vampire fledgling boundary, as well as age and propriety. Do you believe in that kind of attraction, Zoe? I believe in calling the police on paedophiles. Eric, guilt washed through me. He would just die if he could see what was going on between Lauren and me. A mean little thought snaked through my mind. Eric isn't here to see me. And I drew in a deep, shaky breath and heard myself say, yes, I believe in that kind of attraction. Do you? See, when I read this as a teenager, I did think to myself, how dare you call other girls slags, sluts, hoes, hoe bags, whatever, but then act this way whilst you have a boyfriend, 2 boyfriends, no less. And there is some truth to that still. However, this adult is clearly preying on her and taking advantage, so her cheating on Eric isn't really the point or the biggest issue with any of this. I know, I don't have any right to be angry at you for being with Eric. It's not even my business. Slowly, I touched his chin, turning his face back to me so he could meet my eyes. Do you want it to be your business? More than I can tell you, he said. Then he dropped the book. He'd been still holding it, and framed my face in his hands so his thumbs rested close to my lips and his fingers splayed into my hair. I believe it's my turn for a birthday kiss. Kiss this! He knew exactly what he wanted, and he also knew how to get it. And a weird magical thing happened to me. I wasn't just some kid anymore when I kissed him back. I was a woman, mature and powerful, and I knew what I wanted and how to get it too. Snogging an older man doesn't magically make you into a mature woman. It makes you a naive youth, if anything. Lauren gives Zoey diamond earrings as a birthday present. Who are all these men giving her expensive jewellery? Girl boss, gatekeep and all of that. Then, still holding my gaze into the mirror, he bent to nuzzle one of my diamond decorated earlobes and whispered, I think you've done enough studying for one day. Come back to my room with me. No. Zoey refuses because she already has plans. Lauren says, if you change your mind, come to my loft. I nodded, still finding it hard to speak. Everyone knew the in-residence poet laureate had the whole third floor of the professor's quarters building all to himself. More than once I'd listened to the twins fantasize about wrapping up like giant presents and having themselves delivered to the love loft, as they called it. Wow, he is so special as well. He has a whole floor to himself for no reason. When he was gone, I sat heavily on the couch. My legs felt like rubber and my heart was beating so hard it hurt. Shakily, I touched one of the diamond earrings. It felt cold, unlike the snowman made of pearls that rested accusatorily around my throat, around my neck, and the silver bracelet that was clasping my wrist. They felt hot. I put my face in my hands and said miserably, I think I'm turning into a hoe. I think you should get therapy. Chapter 8. Zoey meets her friends. Suddenly, Eric's arms were around me. He kissed me quickly and then hugged me while he whispered in my ear, I've been looking forward to seeing you all day. While I was in the library, I realised my tone was way too abrupt and hateful, in other words, guilty, when he pulled away from me and gave me a sweet but confused smile. Put the poor boy out of his misery. Damien pointedly frowned at the twins and then cleared his throat. You two are completely incorrigible. Twin, I forget. What does incorrigible mean? Shirley said. I do believe it means that we're hotter and sexier than a whole herd of corrigers, Erin said, still bumping and grinding. This did make me laugh when I read it. That's the only time the twins have made me laugh. Congratulations. I hated that he looked so understanding and supportive. If he knew the stuff I'd been researching was making out with Lauren Blake, oh god no, he could never ever find out. And yes, I realised how trifling and hoish it was that not long before this I'd been sucking Lauren's face and feeling all hot and tingly about him, but now I was practically suffocating in a wave of guilt. Clearly, I needed therapy. That's what I said. They prepared to cast a circle to test out Eric's compatibility for being Earth. Jack. I was going to get a lighter, but then I thought about it and it just didn't feel right. He explained to me very seriously. I think it's better to use real wood. You know, real matches. A lighter is just too cold and modern for an ancient ritual, so I brought these. He proudly presented a long cylindrical thing. When I looked at it, like a, well, dolt, he pulled off the top and handed the bottom part to me. See? Long and totally chic fireplace matches. I got them from the den in our dorm. You know, by the fireplace. We actually know nothing about Jack. He's no one beyond Damien's boyfriend. We don't know anything. That's succinct enough. I don't need to explain what that means. He scampers around like a little puppy doing odd jobs for Zoey, and that's about it. He's not developed at all. I know what happens to him in a few books, and it's like, okay, well, so what? Who cares? Who is he? Who is he? Who is he? Where did you find him? Peak television. Hazy, weren't you going to announce the ritual who you're tapping for the prefect council this coming year? Eric asked. You're right. I'd forgotten that I need to do that, I sighed. So yeah, before I close the circle, I'll announce the 2 kids I'm tapping. I have no idea what that means. Zoey cast the circle, and it's the same descriptions every single book. If you've read it once, you've read it a million times. I'm not going over it. When Zoey goes to call Earth, it hurts Eric and he throws the candle, which randomly hits Aphrodite, who was just hanging around. Oh, wonderful. I should have fucking figured. I'm told to come out here in the... She paused, looked around at the tree and the grass, wrinkled up her perfect nose. Wilderness, all surrounded by nature. And what do I find beside insects and dirt? The nerd herd throwing shit at me, she said. Nyx told Aphrodite to come outside to take the place of Eric. Aphrodite spoke softly. Nyx decided I needed more shit in my already crap-filled life, so now I have an affinity for Earth. Ironic enough for you? Aphrodite gets shit on so much by Nyx throughout this series. She has to put up with so much traumatic crap, and I don't understand why she doesn't just leave and go full apostate. Chapter 9. Everyone decides to accept Aphrodite into the circle after a short speech from Zoey. Do they get to keep calling me a hag? Aphrodite said. Are you breathing? Shawnee asked. Then if you're breathing, you're still a hag, Erin said. Which is what we call you, Shawnee finished. They need to grow up. No, I said firmly. The twins turned their glares on me. You guys don't have to like her. You don't even have to like that Nyx wants her here. But if we accept Aphrodite, then we accept her. That means the name calling has to stop. The twins sucked air, obviously getting ready to argue with me, so I hurriedly added, look inside yourselves, especially right now when you have manifested your element. What is your conscience telling you? I held my breath and waited. The twins are childish and they only got powers by proximity to Zoe. They are too immature, too emotionally driven. They're idiots. I don't like either of them. Nepotism. Aphrodite's going to do the same thing the two of you just did. She's going to search her conscience and do the right thing. Aphrodite looked mockingly around like she was searching for something that might be hidden in the night. Then she shrugged. Oops, seems like I don't have a conscience. Stop it, I snapped, and the energy I'd evoked with the circle whipped between Aphrodite and me, snaking dangerously around her body. The power augmented my voice, making Aphrodite's blue eyes widen in surprise and fear. Not here, not in this circle. You will not lie and pretend. Decide now. You have a choice too. I know you've ignored Nyx before. You can choose to ignore her again, but if you choose to stay and do the goddess's will, you're not going to do it with lies and hate. Zoe decides to use her powers to intimidate Aphrodite into shutting up and doing as she says, which that is always what you want from a benevolent leader. They end the circle and Zoe's friends go off to the cinema, but Zoe stays behind to talk to Aphrodite. They need to talk, so let's go, Eric said. I didn't like how he sounded, almost like he didn't care. But before I could say anything else, he was walking away. Crap. I was definitely going to have some making up to do with him. That went hard, wasn't it? Eric is such an asshole. All these people are just dumb and immature. I mean, they're teenagers, but it doesn't. I know that, but it's still infuriating to read. There's nothing actually remotely suspicious about Zoe staying behind to talk to Aphrodite. She is a high priestess in training, and Aphrodite has just randomly had an elemental affinity thrust onto her by the goddess. There is nothing suspicious about Zoe staying behind to talk to her about it in private. Nothing. Doesn't matter if you don't like her or not. You not think? Use your brain, you stupid knockoff Edward Cullen. God, I miss Edward Cullen now. Shouldn't you already know about Nyx's will, blah blah, whatever? Aren't you her chosen one? I mean, Aphrodite is right, you know. My visions have been changing. It started with the one I had when those human kids were being killed. I used to be able to see things like I was just an observer. I watched what was happening but wasn't touched by it. Everything and everyone were clear, easy to understand. With those boys it was different. I wasn't detached anymore. I was one of them. I could feel myself being killed with them. She paused and shuddered. I also couldn't see things clearly anymore. Stuff became a big jumble of fear and panic and crazy emotions. I get some flashes of things that I can identify or understand, like when I told you had to get Heath out of those tunnels or he'd die. But mostly I'm freaked and confused, and afterwards I feel awful. See, she's Nyx's punching bag, and actually her visions get way worse than this. Like, really bad. I hate Nyx. I hate everyone in this except for Aphrodite. I'm getting bored now. I'm gonna go bully people on Facebook. Yeah, I get it. So you saw her undead. That's what she is, isn't it? She's turned into some kind of horrible vampire cliche, and the monster humans have been calling us for centuries. Not all humans. Zoe, you do sound like hashtag not all humans. You know, you really need to get over your completely crappy attitude about humans. You used to be one, I said. Yeah, I'm human and they suck. Also, what moral high ground is Zoe on, considering she hasn't given a second thought to the fact that Stevie Ray is going around murdering homeless people for blood? Some human lover you are. Aphrodite's vision was that Nephire killed Stevie Ray by leaving her out in the sun to burn. Chapter 10. This confirms that the new red fledglings can't go out in the sunlight or else they will die. Regular vampires aren't affected, but direct sunlight is too strong for them and hurts their eyes, etc. Her expression flattened and her voice returned to normal. Let's just say I have a lot to make up for. To Nyx, she looked away from me. You probably won't get this, being all powerful with new gifts from Nyx and basically Miss Perfect. She's right. But once you've had your gifts for a while, you might find out that it's not always easy to do the right thing. Other things, people, get in the way. You'll make mistakes, Aphrodite scoffed. Well, maybe you won't, but I did. I might not particularly give a shit about you or Stevie Ray. She kind of does, though. Or maybe anyone here at the school, but I do care about Nyx. Her voice faltered. I know what it's like to believe the goddess has turned from me, and I don't want to ever feel like that again. She's been affected deeply by the stuff that's happened to her. Realistically, right. And don't no one take this the wrong way. All Aphrodite really did was be a bit of a high school bully. Be a bit of a bitch. The response is not appropriate to the situation. She didn't go out and do any murderings. She's not Stevie Ray eating homeless people and no one gives a shit about that. She's not Nephire going full evil, etc, etc. And whilst it's a good thing that one does want to better themselves and atone for any past misgivings, I feel like the amount of thought and pressure Aphrodite puts on herself via the authors is really disproportionate to the stuff that actually happened. But yes, even Aphrodite knows that Zoey has plot armor and Mary Sue powers. I don't blame you there. Okay, here's what I know for sure from my visions. We have to get Stevie Ray someplace safe and away from the rest of those things. And we have to do it now, before Neferre comes back. There's some connection between the two of them. I don't understand it, but I know it's there, and I know it's wrong. Aphrodite made a face like she just tasted something nasty. Actually, the whole undead dead monster thing is all wrong. Talk about disgusting creatures. Stevie Ray's different than the rest of them. Bro, Stevie Ray is a murderer just like the rest of them. The only difference is she's your friend. Zoey doesn't actually care about humans either. She doesn't care about all the red fledglings running amok and killing people right now. Which, I'm assuming to avoid detection, they're all eating homeless people. But there's at least a dozen of them, right? Why did the news reports about people being killed stop? I suppose it would help if we knew exactly how often they need to feed, but Stevie Ray goes crazy for blood all of the time, so you think it's pretty regularly. It's only been a month, but she acts like she needs to drink blood every single day. You know what I mean? It's just whatever. I was going to try to talk her into coming back here. I figured I could hide her pretty easily while most of the vampires are gone. What about all the rest of the fledglings, all the people knocking around? That's such a stupid idea. You can't bring her back here. Aphrodite had gone pale. This is where I saw her die again. See? Dumbass. Aphrodite offers they use her parents' garage apartment whilst her parents are away skiing, and also tells Zoey that human blood is kept in the House of Night's kitchen, in pouches. Zoey would be fucked without Aphrodite. They then start bickering. Don't call her that, I snapped. Do you ever think that a big part of your problem and why so many bad things have happened to you isn't Neferre and all the bull poop she's up to, but the fact that you have such a bitchy, crappy attitude? Yeah, I suppose it is her fault that her parents are abusive to her and have been abusive to her whole life. What are you, the Onision Speaks channel in like 2014? Victim blaming? Shut up. Not me. I think most people, and I'm talking vamp or human, are shitty. They put on an act. They pretend to be all nicey nice, but are really just one step away from showing their true assholeness. That's what I think too. That's a depressing way to go through life, I said. You call it depressing. I call it realistic. It's kind of true though. Go out and meet enough people. Get to my age. It's kind of true. How do you ever trust anyone? Aphrodite looked away from me. I don't. It's easier that way. You'll find out. Oh my god, same. I trust like one person. Wow. She met my eyes again. I couldn't read the weird expression in them. Power changes people. She is right, as usual. Best character. They go their separate ways to get things ready for Stevie Ray. Chapter 11. Zoey finds a birthday card and silver locket for herself in Stevie Ray's jeans because she's collecting her clothes to give to her. Stevie Ray died well over a month ago. And yet there's a birthday card and present in these jeans. I guess she was just really overly eager to get Zoey a birthday gift. Somehow, finding the necklace made me feel stronger, and also taking the blood from the kitchen was way easier than I thought it was going to be. Instead of my normal purse, the little designer one I found at a Boutica in Utica Square last year, it's made of fake pink fur. Totally cool. Don't care, didn't ask, cop my merch, especially my new festive edition. Go check it out. ayclothing.temu.com. One of the pluses of doing these long videos is I actually drink water to stay hydrated so my throat doesn't die. Zoey goes to Walmart to get supplies for Stevie Ray and then is called by Eric. Oh, because they were all going to go to the cinema and Zoey was meant to meet them. Still at school, he sounded annoyed, but the movie's almost over. Is he on his phone in the middle of the movie at the cinema? What a bastard. Eric hangs up on her because he's really mature. Aphrodite and Zoey head off to her parents' house. Whatever, she said, clearly laughing at me. And there's nothing wrong with being a virgin. It's better than being a skank. Lovely. Leaving Aphrodite at the apartment, Zoey goes to find Stevie Ray. Chapter 12. Zoey meets Stevie Ray, but Stevie Ray snatches the blood... I can't get comfortable. Snatches the blood pouch from her and drinks it. Stevie Ray is struggling. I gave her the answer I felt deep in my soul, and I knew the moment I'd said it that it was the right thing to say. I'm sure about you being okay because I'm sure that Nyx still loves you and she let this happen for a reason. Yeah, Nyx loves her, right? The human Stevie Ray's been eating? Crickets. I walked down the middle of the road in the darkness, concentrating on shrouding us in silence and invisibility, with Stevie Ray following only a couple of feet behind me. It was dark and seemed preternaturally silent. I glanced up through the winter branches of the old huge trees that lined the street. I should have been able to see an almost full moon, but the clouds had rolled in, obscuring all but an indistinct glow of white where the moon should be. This isn't how someone who says words like ginormic sounds. Zoey realizes that Stevie Ray doesn't need to be around adult vampires, so she concludes that Stevie Ray has gone through a different type of change. I can show you how to get in the house. I can sense secret ways. You could get the girl to invite me in. I can't go into a person's home now unless they invite me first. Why? This is a series that prides itself on trying to have a more scientific attitude to vampires, even with the mythology and the god stuff, whatever. So why has this happened? What's the explanation for that? Whatever. They get Stevie Ray to take a shower and they bicker amongst themselves. Chapter 13. Okay, well, besides having to drink blood and not having to be around adult vamps, Stevie Ray can't come into someone's house unless she's invited. By someone who lives there, Stevie Ray added, but that's not such a big deal. What do you mean? I asked. Stevie Ray turned her red-tinged gaze at me. I can get humans to do things they don't want to do. With an effort. I didn't shiver. Throw her in the bin. I know the authors are trying to force this point of Zoey not giving up on Stevie Ray because they're best friends. But at what cost? Several, if not dozens of humans dying? So why are you helping Zoey? Stevie Ray shot the question at Aphrodite. And don't give me that crap about Nyx having a sense of humour. What's the real reason? Aphrodite sneered. Why I'm helping is my own damn business. Stevie Ray sprang to her feet and moved across the room so fast that her movements were one big blur. Before I could blink, she had her hands around Aphrodite's throat and her face pressed close to hers. You're wrong. It's my business too, because I'm here. Remember? You invited me in. She's feral. Throw her in the sun. Stevie Ray, let her go. I kept my voice calm, but my pulse was pounding like crazy. Stevie Ray looked and sounded dangerous and more than a little crazy. That is some word proximity there, crazy and crazy. I've never liked her, Zoey. You know that. Get over it. I told you a zillion times she was no damn good and you should stay far away from her. I don't know why I shouldn't snap her neck. In the sun. In the sun. You shouldn't snap her neck because you're not a monster. She didn't let go of Aphrodite, but Stevie Ray turned her head so she could look at me. How do you know that? I didn't hesitate. Because I believe in our goddess. And because I believe in the part of you that is still my best friend. In the sun! In the sun! Aphrodite thinks that by helping Zoey, she will atone for her previous sins. I wouldn't bother helping Stevie Ray, but I've never liked her. She was annoying in life and she's more annoying in death. They keep bickering until Zoey explodes. This is exactly what I mean, I shouted. Stop it. If we can't get along, how in the hell can we expect to figure our way to stand up to Neferre and fix what's happened to Stevie Ray? We have to stand up to Neferre, Aphrodite said. Why do we have to stand up to her? Stevie Ray said. Oh, they asked. Because she's fucking evil, I yelled. You said fuck, Stevie Ray said. Yeah, and you didn't get struck by lightning or melt or any fucking thing like that, Aphrodite said gleefully. Yes, super special of Zoey to not curse properly. Somehow this gives Zoey an epiphany. I think you were right when you said your soul was missing, Stevie Ray, or at least part of it's missing. You're sounding like that's a good thing, which I totally don't get, Aphrodite said. I hate to agree with her, but yeah, why is my missing soul a good thing, Stevie Ray said. Because that's how we fix you. They just stared at me with blank, dopey looks. I rolled my eyes. All we had to do is figure out how to get your soul back into you all in one piece and you'll be whole. You might not exactly be like you used to. Clearly you've completed a change and that's not exactly normal. This is quite the leap in logic. First, we are running with the assumption that souls do exist, which I suppose isn't that far-fetched. I don't need to suspend my disbelief for that. This is a paranormal young adult book after all. But from that, with no evidence, Zoey posits that Stevie Ray's soul is actually broken up and that somehow a few teens will be able to put a soul back together. Harry Potter exists in this universe, so Zoey should know that even Voldemort couldn't put his soul back together once he broke it up into little pieces. Can be done. So with a healed soul, you will get your humanity back. You get yourself back. And that's what was really most important. All this other stuff, I made an abstract gesture at her. You know, your weird eyes and the whole drink blood or you go crazy issue. All that stuff can be dealt with if you're really you again. Naturally, Zoey will be right. But even with her soul healed, that won't bring back all the people she's killed. But fuck them, am I right? Do you have cable? Stevie Ray asked Aphrodite. Of course, she said. Cool, Stevie Ray said, looking happier than she had since she died. A thank you would be nice, but fuck Aphrodite, I suppose. Chapter 14. Back near the school, Zoey wants Aphrodite to represent Earth in their Dark Daughters ritual. Well then, you'll just have to rejoin the Dark Daughters. She started to say something. I raised my voice and talked over the top of her. Which means you're going to have to swear to uphold the new rules. Lame, she muttered. You're doing that attitude thing again, I said. So will you swear to it? That is rich. Zoey has the worst attitude out of everyone in this book. Aphrodite gets out of the car, but she feels off, so she screams and starts puking. Then we have some actual horror and real drama in this book. Her body was nailed grotesquely to a crude wooden cross that was resting against the wall. They'd not just nailed her wrists and ankles, they'd also driven a thick wooden stake through her heart. There was some kind of paper over her heart, held in place by the grotesque stake. I could see that it had something written on it, but my eyes wouldn't focus well enough to read the words. They'd also cut her head off. They'd also done this. They'd also overkilling it. Professor Nolan's head. I knew it was her because they'd mounted her head on a wooden stake next to her body. Each sentence gets worse and worse. Her long dark hair lifted softly in the breeze, looking obscenely graceful. Her mouth was open in a terrible grimace, but her eyes were closed. Too bad that I don't remember who Professor Nolan is. They work out an alibi for why they were hanging out together because they're meant to be like sworn enemies and go get a teacher. They don't want Neferre to work out that they've been hanging out and conspiring and stuff either. They run straight into Neferre, Lenobia and Lauren, who are back from vacation, and tell them that Nolan is dead. R.I.P. whoever you were. Chapter 15. Someone dying in a universe that definitely has an afterlife certainly makes all of the stakes fall a bit flat. I'd learned early that vampire society was heavily matriarchal, which just means women run things. It doesn't mean that male vamps aren't respected though. They are. It's just that their gifts are usually more in the physical realm and women's gifts are more intellectual and intuitive. Bottom line is, male vampires are amazing warriors and protectors. These two, plus Dragon and Lauren, made me feel about a zillion times better. I don't feel it is that matriarchal if women still need men to offer protection. Maybe in another series it kind of could be, but with all the other like misogynistic, sexist nonsense in this, I just don't really buy it. Oh gracious goddess, Neferre gasped. She moved forward slowly until she reached the terrible staked head. I watched as she stroked Professor Nolan's hair back and then rested her hand on the dead woman's forehead. Find peace, my friend. Rest in the green meadows of our goddess. It is there we will, one day, meet again. Now obviously the way that she's been murdered is awful, but death can't be that much of a big deal if you'll just see each other again in a few more years. Neferre tells Lauren to take Zoe back to the dorm. So naturally, instead of doing that, he takes her to the kitchen and gives her blood-infused wine and a sandwich. Alcohol doesn't affect fledglings the same way it affects humans, but blood makes them feel pleasurable and horny. So he's basically still plying her with a mind-altering substance in a moment when she's feeling especially vulnerable. Lauren's smile was warm and filled with appreciation. You're not a normal fledgling, so the normal rules don't apply to you. Not sure that's how it works, mate. His gaze held mine, and it seemed he was talking about much more than accidentally drinking a little human blood. He made me feel hot and cold, scared but totally grown up and sexy, all at once. She's just had this huge shock to her system. She's seen someone's dead, staked, decapitated body. Imagine how horrific that would be. She's seen that and he is still trying to sex pest her immediately while she's not in the right frame of mind. Even if she was old enough for him and they weren't in the teacher-student dynamic, this would still be entirely unethical and scummy. Lauren tells Zoe that the people of the faith killed Prof. Nolan as the quotes that they left on her body was from them. Well, no, it wasn't from them, it was from Exodus. But not the infinitely superior Abe's Exodus, the Bible Exodus. Lauren tells Zoe that the elite vampire warriors, the sons of Erebus, are coming to fortify the school against any more human attacks. Before I could say anything, he bent and kissed me long and deep. His tongue met mine and I could taste wine and a seductive hint of blood in his mouth. After what seemed like a long time, he lifted his mouth from mine. His eyes were dark and he was breathing deeply. Lauren stops preying on Zoe for 5 minutes, enough time to take her back to the dorm. Zoe calls her mother to find out where John, the stepdad, was last night, but he was at home. Zoe goes to sleep. Chapter 16. I knew the second Heath got back into town because he interrupted my dream. I had been lying out in the sun. See? Clearly a dream. On a big heart-shaped floaty in the middle of a lake made of Sprite. Who knows? When all of a sudden, everything disappeared and Heath's familiar voice burst into my skull. Zoe! Can Zoe not take a break? Why are these books so action-packed? Also, there's another crocodile greater than less than symbol. Zoe remembers the events of yesterday and decides to leave it all to the police, as she should. You don't need to get involved in everything that happens. Zoe, I'm back. Zoe, I have to see you. Still love you, Zoe. Zoe? Call me. Heath, I sighed and sat in my bed. Crap, this just keeps getting worse and worse. What in the hell was I going to do about him? Block him? Truthfully, we'd been mostly on again until he decided to have a deep and meaningful relationship with Budweiser. I so don't want my young lad to be a drunk, so I dumped him. My young lad? What 17-year-old talks like this? Is she 17 going on 70? Point 1. I liked Heath. I might actually love him, and the bloodlust thing with him was majorly hot, even though I'm not supposed to be drinking his blood. Did I want to break up with him? No. Should I break up with him? Definitely. I liked Eric. I liked him a lot. He's smart and funny and an honestly nice guy. His being the cutest, most popular fledgling at school didn't hurt either. And like he'd reminded me more than once, he and I had a lot in common. Did I want to break up with him? No. Should I break up with him? Well, only if I keep cheating on him with guy number 1 and man number 3. 3. I liked Lauren. He existed in a whole other universe than Eric and Heath. He was a man. An adult vampire with all the power and wealth and position that came along with it. He knew stuff that I was only beginning to guess at. He made me feel like no one had ever made me feel before. He made me feel like a real woman. Did I want to break up with him? No. Should I break up with him? Not just yes, but hell yes. All the power, wealth, and position. She is the most powerful fledgling of all time. She doesn't need to look to the external for power or position. And as for wealth, it's shallow, isn't it? Zoey decides to dump everyone except Eric. Not to mention the fact that I'm really not used to feeling hoish. It wasn't a feeling I particularly liked, although the lifestyle did seem to come with good jewellery. Girl boss. Zoey arranges to meet Heath at Starbucks. Again, she's such an American. But Aphrodite comes into her room to tell her that no one's being allowed off campus. Crap, I said again. I really need to not put off this appointment. So Heath's back in town? I frowned at her. Maybe. Oh, please, your face is totally easy to read. Then she lifted one of her perfectly plucked blonde brows. Bet Eric doesn't know about this appointment. Aphrodite knows more about the real Zoey than her actual friends do. Keeping in mind that Aphrodite was Eric's ex-girlfriend, and no matter how friendly she and I appeared to be getting, I knew she would jump at the chance to latch back onto Eric. I shrugged nonchalantly. I don't understand why Zoey would assume this. Aphrodite has said and done nothing to suggest that she's interested in Eric anymore. Anyone else getting like weird misogynistic vibes from this? Like, oh, of course she would want to get back with like dreamy Eric or ex. No? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. There's nothing in the text. She doesn't seem to even like Eric. Whatever. As a person, I mean. I think I just immediately jumped towards sexism because I know what the cast duo are like. You know, I know their insinuations that all women are just slags. I hear breaking an imprint bond is next to impossible, she said. That's an imprint with an adult vamp. It's different for fledglings. At least I hoped it was. Plus, still not your business. Okay, no problem. If it's not my business that you need to get off campus, then there's no reason for me to tell you how to sneak out of here. Aphrodite, I do not have time for games. Fine. She started to turn to go, and I stepped in front of her. You're being a bitch. Again, I said. And you're almost cussing again. Zoey is the one being rude, actually. Listen to that dialogue. It's her. She's the one being rude. Aphrodite came in to tell Zoey how to get off campus. She has a roundabout way of doing things, granted, but she is constantly helping Zoey and is reliable to her. Yet Zoey is the one always assuming the worst, being a dick and calling her a bitch or a hoe or whatever. How can the authors have this little self-awareness? Here, Aphrodite handed me the canvas bag she'd been carrying over her shoulder. Take this to Stevie Ray. Bag was full of pouches of blood. I blinked in surprise. How did you get these? I couldn't sleep, and I figured the vamps would call in major backup after what happened to Professor Nolan, which means the kitchen was going to be busy again. So I thought I'd better make a quick trip to clean out the splatter blood before we couldn't get to see it anymore. I kept it in the mini fridge in my room. See? Zoey would be lost without Aphrodite. Chapter 17. Zoey sees the twins. I'm fine. Promise. My gut twisted. Shawnee, Erin, Damien, and Eric were my best friend. Are they? Doesn't seem like it. Best friends, I hated lying to them. Even if most of the lies I was telling were by omission. In the 2 months I'd been at the house, and it's only been 2 months. 3 books, 2 months. Imagine if Harry Potter were done that way. We had become a family, so they weren't faking. They were genuinely worried about me. And as I stood there trying to sift through what I could and couldn't say to them, a horrible premonition shivered over my skin. What if they found out about all the stuff I'd been keeping from them and they turned away from me? What if they stopped being my family? Just thinking about that terrible possibility made me all fluttery and panicky inside. Before I could chicken out, confess everything and fling myself at their feet while I begged to understand. How many times can one person fuck up one paragraph? Place your bets now. I blurted, I have to go see Heath. This is incredibly heavy-handed foreshadowing, considering it is what happens by the end of the book. They find out everything and ditch her, which also is super random, and they clearly aren't that good friends with you in the first place. If whatever, we'll get to it, don't worry, in an hour's time. But it's quite forced. All Zoey would need to say at this point is, there's bad things going on, the vampires are psychic, so I can't tell you about it yet. Instead of rushing around lying to everyone, just say that. That's all she'd need to do. The insistence on trying to keep everything to herself to solve everything. I believe the cast duo think it's selflessness, but I think it's just forced martyrism. Like, look how much of a good person she is. She's trying, you know, whatever. Don't work on me. What do we tell boyfriend? Boyfriend? Your boyfriend? Eric, I'm so damn fine. Night. Erin gave me a look that said she thought I'd lost my mind. On second thoughts, they are both annoying, so I wouldn't tell them anything either. Also, I think I say this at the end of the book and I didn't pick it up again. So Zoe's going off to see Heath. She tells Erin and Shawnee that's where she's going, but she doesn't want Eric to know. So as soon as they see Eric, they immediately tell him. Maybe that's why she doesn't want to tell you secrets. Maybe. Because they both suck. Zoey leaves the twins and runs into one of the warriors. Releasing me. He took a step back and pressed his fist over his heart in a snappy salute. Releasing me. Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Free 10 more dragons in the Dragon Kingdom to move to the next area. Merry meet. It is a pleasure to know the fledgling Nyx has greatly gifted. #gifted. Hashtag spawns. Grrr. His name is Darius. My brother warriors are posted all over the school grounds. You may rest safely, little priestess. He smiled at me. Little priestess? Please. The kid had to have just changed recently. So he's like 18 and speaking like that. Gross. Crap, that was so not good. I wondered what the hell I was going to do. How was I going to sneak out of there with warrior mountains, no matter how young and cute, all over the place? Not that it mattered how young and cute he was. Like I had time for another possible boyfriend. I would say the way that she just assumes he would be into her, but who am I kidding? All the boys fancy her. Absolutely no way. Not to mention his hottiness. Could have just been hotness. Didn't make him any less mountainous. Yeesh, I was a mess and I had such a dang headache. Your hormones need to calm down. Go take a cold shower. Then the soft voice was in my head telling me to think, be calm. The words swirled soothingly through my frantic mind. Automatically, I began to slow down. I breathed deeply, willing myself to relax and think. I needed to be calm, be still, think, and luckily Nyx is on hand to help Zoey through any tiny discomfort ever. Zoey shrouds herself in darkness and escapes the school. My reflection made my breath catch in my throat. I looked iridescent. My skin shimmered with pearlized colours like a mirage. My dark hair lifted softly around me, floating in a breeze that blew for me alone. I didn't look human. I didn't look vampire. I looked like some kind of new being. I'm just making this. I'm not even reading this. I'm just reading the stuff in the thoughts in my head. I looked like a new kind of being, born of the night and blessed by the elements. What was it Lauren had said about me in the library? Something like me being a goddess among what a fucking humble brag. Sorry, Tana Mojo. The way I looked right then made me think that he may be on something. Power shivered through me and my hair lifted from my shoulder. Zoey, you're in a rush right now. Stevie Ray might eat someone if she doesn't get any blood, so consider stopping fucking yourself for 5 minutes. She meets up with Heath. Oh no, she's going to meet Heath. Not same fucking difference. He shrugged and grinned. I was, but then I felt you coming. And nowhere could I just sit there anymore. His brown eyes sparkled adorably and his hand caressed the side of my cheek as he added, we're imprinted, remember? It's you and me, baby. Baby. Delicatessen, baby. See, like all British people could do that posh voice. The way he talks is annoying. Can't, because Kayla and the bitch squad picked tonight to go to Starbucks, baby. Bitch squad? Yeah, that's what me and Josh and Travis called Kayla and Whitney and Lindsay and Chelsea and Paige. This is killing me. This is killing me. Wow, so American. Oh. Since when did Kayla start hanging around with those hateful sluts? Jesus Christ, the absolute irony. I would try to explain irony to the cast duo, but I think they think it's something you do to your clothes to straighten them out. Well, that explains their sudden desire for caffeine. I'm surprised they didn't follow you down the sidewalk. Okay, yes, I did remember that I was supposed to be breaking up with him, but it still annoyed the crap out of me to think that Kayla was sniffing around him. You're in no position to be jealous, 3 boyfriends. 3 boyfriends, 1 nonce. Oh yeah, I did hear about that. He took my hand into his. Are you okay? Did you know the vamp that was killed? Yes, I knew her. She was my drama professor. And no, I'm not okay. I promise. That's who she was. Professor Nolan was the drama teacher. So I bet she was close with Eric then. Not that Zoey has bothered to check in with him or text him or anything. They go to the park. Chapter 18. Keith is suspicious about the night in the tunnels, so Zoey continues the false narrative of a homeless person killing the students from the last book. What did the cast duo have against homeless people? What did they do to you? Heath, you and I can't see each other again. His forehead wrinkled. He looked like he was trying to figure out a complex math word problem. Why would you say something like that, Zoe? Of course we can see each other again. Why does the little things keep happening? Bullshit, he shouted. Don't tell me I don't love you. I've loved you since I was 9 years old. This imprint thing is just another part of what's going on between us since we were kids. This imprint thing has to end, I said calmly, meeting his gaze. Why? I've told you, it's good for me. And you know we belong together, Zoe. You have to believe in us. All the men in these books are annoying. Go away. Go date someone else for a bit. Get some life experience and then talk to me. If I have to share you, I will. His voice had dropped almost to a whisper, and he looked away from me like he was too embarrassed to meet my eyes. I'll do whatever it takes to not lose you. It made something inside me break, but I laughed at Heath. Listen to you. Ha! You sound pathetic. Do you know what vampire men are like? Why do none of these men also understand that no means no? No. His voice had gotten stronger and he met my eyes again. No, I don't know what they're like. And I'm sure they can do all sorts of cool stuff. They're probably big and bad and all that. But I know one thing they can't do that I can. They can't do this. In a motion so fast, I didn't understand what he was doing until it was too late. He pulled a razor blade from the pocket of his jeans and slashed a deep, long line down the side of his neck. I knew right away that he hadn't hit an artery or anything like that. The cut wouldn't kill him, but it was pouring blood. Hot, sweet, fresh trails of blood down his neck and shoulder. And it was Heath's blood, a scent that I'd been imprinted to desire above all others. The sweetness of it covered me, brushing against my skin with hot insistence. This is very manipulative, using a drug to get its own way. However, as I said in the last book, we don't know how much the imprint affects the imprintee's decision-making and free will. So Heath, I don't think, can take all of the blame for this action. The guy cut his own throat, which that is not the decision of a person of mentally sound mind. I mean, if you really want to argue about it, any other body part would have been safer if you just, missed the arteries. He could have been safer about it, but he went straight for his neck. So I theorize that he's been driven a little bit crazy by the imprint. That's my fan theory. That's my hater theory, actually. Oh God, am I a fan of this series? I think I am. She drinks from his neck. I straddled him, pressing the most private part of myself against his hardness. Went from young adult straight to adult. His hand left my hair to hold my hips, and he rocked me against him rhythmically as he moaned and panted and whispered for me not to stop. I didn't want to stop. They start humping in public. The same girl that calls anyone she doesn't like a slut. Okay. They start getting heckled. My fury was impossible to ignore, and my response was immediate. I lifted my face from his neck. Two black guys were just a few feet away and getting closer to us. They were wearing the stereotypical, ridiculous sagging pants and stupid, oversized down coats. I don't feel that this is okay. Stupid, oversized down coats. When I bared my teeth at them and hissed, their expressions changed from sneers to shocked disbelief. She's a fucking bloodsucker bitch, the shorter of the two said. Tell her how you really feel. The other guy snorted. Nah, bitch got no tattoo. But if she wants something to suck, I'll give it to her. Whew. This went from young adult to adult. Yeah, first you, then me. Her little punk boyfriend can watch and see how it's done. With a mean laugh, they started walking. That's a bit intense, isn't it? Wind, come to me, I commanded. My hair began blowing in the breeze that swirled restlessly around me. Blow them the hell out of here. I flung my hand out towards the two men, letting my anger explode at my words. The wind obeyed instantly, crashing into them with such force that they were swept, yelling and cussing, off their feet and hurled away from me. I watched with a kind of detached fascination as the wind dropped the two men down in the middle of 21st Street. I didn't even flinch when the truck hit them. So I'm pretty sure that Zoey just murdered two people. I think it's pretty clear from the text that they were about to assault her. I have mixed feelings. But I don't think after this book it's really ever mentioned again. I'm not sure if after this book she wonders or cares that she killed people. Heath, touched my cheek, and then he used his thumb to wipe away the rest of the concealer so that my mark was completely visible. Heath bent to kiss the crescent moon in the middle of my forehead. I'm okay with you. How many mistakes do you think actual voice actors make when they're reading lines for an Audible audiobook or whatnot? Some audiobooks are 40 hours long. It would take me hundreds of hours to be able to do that. Anyway, Audible, hit me up. I'm okay with you being a vampire, Zoe, but I want you to remember that you're still Zoe too. My Zoe, and my Zoe isn't mean. I couldn't let them hurt you, I whispered, really shaking now as I realised how cold and horrible I'd just been. I might have just caused the deaths of two men. I'm pretty sure after this book never gives it a second thought. When I was away with my parents, I did some reading up on your vampire goddess, Nyx. Zoe, there's a lot of stuff written about vampires, but I didn't find anything that said your goddess is mean. I think you should keep that in mind. Nyx has given you a bunch of powers, and I don't think she'd like it if you use them the wrong way. His eyes glanced over my shoulder to the distant road and the awful scene that was playing out there. You shouldn't be mean, Zoe, no matter what. Even her moron boyfriend is better than her. He smiled. 2 months ago. Heath kissed my lips softly and then stood up, pulling me to my feet. You got to get out of here. I'm going to go back the way we came. You should probably cut through the rose gardens and get back to school. If those guys aren't dead, they're going to talk, and that's not going to be good for the house at night. Heath does also seem rather unconcerned that he's just witnessed either murder or attempted murder. Okay. Zoe goes back to the school having not broken up with Heath. Most of her problems are self-inflicted. Chapter 19. Yep, I was seriously messed up. Not only had I not broken up with Heath, but I had probably made her imprint even stronger. Plus, I may have caused two men to be killed. I like how the dead men are the afterthought. In the prior chapter, she said, oh, the hospital's just down the road. I'm sure they'll be fine if they're alive. However, I realised at this point that Zoey Redbird lives in America. So when she said, the hospital down the road, whatever. If they are alive, you've just bankrupted them for life, girl boss. And I'd also forgotten that she already has killed someone before, the undead fledgling in the Elizabeth No Name character. So she's already a murderer. And arguably, she was in a lot more danger then. Realistically, I don't think she was actually in any danger at all in this scene, despite two men who clearly had some kind of motive walking towards her. She's the most powerful fledgling of all time. She can command water, spirit, fire, earth. She could burn them to death like she did Elizabeth No Name. She could drown them to death. She could blow them away to death, which is what happened. She could earth them to death somehow. She could kill them easily. She's that strong. So I don't think, despite their intentions, there was any real danger in what just, you know. My point is, she's a straight up savage. Zoe starts thinking of Lauren again and what she wants to do with him. After just almost humping Heath to two guys' deaths, she needs to calm down. She goes to Aphrodite's parents' garage apartment. I sighed and sat on the couch, trying to ignore the fact that she was already, Stevie Ray, gulping down the first bag of blood. If you ain't me the way my life sucks right now, you'd be doing me a favour. Yeah, I bet. I remember how tough it was to be alive. All filled with dating drama and, oh my goodness, what should I wear to school? Real awful. Unlike the stress of being dead, then undead, but still feeling mostly dead. Stevie Ray spoke in the cold, sarcastic voice that was totally different from the way she used to sound, which suddenly annoyed the crap right out of me. Like I didn't have any stress in my life just because I wasn't dead or undead. Whatever. Stevie Ray is right, though. Professor Nola, where's the N? Professor Nola, new character, was killed last night. R.I.P. It looked like some of the people of the faith crucified her and chopped her head off and left her out by the trapdoor on the east wall with a lovely note about not suffering a witch to live. I think that my step-loser might be involved, but I can't say anything about it because my mum is covering for him. And if I rat him out, she'll probably go to jail forever. I just sucked Heath's blood and got interrupted by some gang wannabes who I think I might have sort of accidentally killed. And Lauren Blake and I have been making out. How was your day? She says all of this as if we don't know that 99% of her thoughts are occupied by boy drama, not the other stuff. She hasn't given a second thought about her stepfather and her mother since the prior chapters when she had the phone call. But she woke up the next day, she gave it a thought then, and then probably just stopped caring about it. Of course, Stevie Ray starts asking about Lauren Blake because dead or undead, her only purpose is to be Zoe's hype man. Stevie Ray cries about losing her humanity. I don't care. She was annoying when she was properly alive, and I care less about her now that she's this unrepenting serial killer who worries more about her hypothetical humanity over the actual humans that she's been eating. I squeezed her hand and then pried mine from her grip. Nephray is having a special ritual for Professor Nolan, and then I have to do the full moon ritual thingy. And I was going to have to hit the library again and come up with some kind of ritual that might help Stevie Ray. And I didn't have a clue what to do about Lauren. Ignore him. And Eric was probably going to be mad at me for taking off. Ignore him too. And I hadn't broken up with Heath. Pause on the boy drama for 1 second. Sort your priorities out. Or you could do what I see on every single r/relationship problem subreddit post. Ask Eric to open the relationship. Problem solved. I mean, I've never seen it go well in any of those Reddit posts, by the way, but hey, Zoe might be the exception. And no, before anyone gets a bit wound up, I'm not on about polyamorous couples. I'm on about when, let's be real, men, blokes are like, do you know what? You haven't bounced back immediately from after having the baby. So can we open the relationship up because I'm not attracted to you anymore and I want to shag the secretary at work. Never goes well. And you know what almost always invariably happens whenever it's the bloke in this dynamic asking for the relationship to be opened up? He gets the shag whoever he's secretly been thinking of shagging for ages, then it doesn't usually go anywhere. Then the wife, the girlfriend, starts getting lots of propositions from different men, and then the bloke is always like, oh, I want to close the relationship back up now because we love each other. Oh, you don't love me enough, blah blah. Do you know how many of those I've seen on, because I get Reddit posts on TikTok, most of my For You is just that. Do you know how many of those I fucking listen to? Zoe, just do that, be fine. Zoe heads back to school. Chapter 20. Christ, we're almost done. I've done this almost in one sitting. I am the best person I've ever met. Zoe gets caught by Nephray and friends back at the school. Sorry, I trailed off, majorly aware that all eyes were on me. She needs to be alone before the rituals, Shawnee said, stepping up to put an arm through mine. Yeah, she always needs to be alone before rituals. It's a Zoe thing, Erin said, moving to my other side and taking my other arm. Yep, we call it... I hate even reading this out. I hate them. We call it ZAT, Zoe alone time, Damien said, joining the three of us. It's kind of annoying, but what can you do? Eric said, moving around me, behind me, to rest his warm hands on my shoulders. That's Alizee. What in the Disney Channel is this shocking dialogue? Who talks like this? Lauren turns up to Dick Swing. You slept well last night? I wondered how you'd managed after I left you at the dorm. Lauren gave Eric what was obviously a patronising, I'm way older than you, smile and explained. Zoe had quite a shock yesterday. Yeah, I know. Eric clipped the words out. I could feel the tension between them and wondered a little frantically if anyone else had noticed. When I heard Shawnee's whispered, "Damn, girl," and Erin's, I had to force myself not to groan. Clearly everyone else, translation the twins, noticed. The twins are very annoying. What is this background commentary? Nefre wants to cast a protective spell around the school. Nefre's eyes were kind, her voice gentle. I know it's unusual to use fledglings in an adult ritual, but never before has a House of Night been so gifted with so many extraordinary young people at one time. All vampires are Mary Sue's, but Zoe's gang are the merriest, sueiest of them all. Lauren had been right. The area that had been so gruesome just yesterday had been completely cleansed of any nastiness, and I wondered briefly how the Tulsa cops had gathered their evidence before... Nope, and then shook myself. Surely Nefre had waited for them to do their job before she cleaned everything. Hadn't she? Dun dun dun. Nefre cast a circle, then a protection spell, cutting herself to bind it. The spell will inform her of anyone entering or leaving the school. So the gang head off. I was crazy about Heath and his blood. Eric was an amazing guy who I really, really liked. Lauren was completely delicious. Jeesh, I sucked. I hate whenever she says jeesh. All I can think of is jeesh. But see what I just said like 5 minutes ago. How dare Zoe complain to Stevie Ray and act as though her life doesn't revolve around boy drama. Chapter 21. Boy drama sprinkled with occasional decapitations. Zoe gets ready for a ritual with Aphrodite. Fine, whatever, then heal her. Okay, it's so not that simple. How do you know? Have you tried? And I stopped totally dead in my tracks. All the dialogue is like this. That's so not... I was totally like, ugh, ginormic. What did you just say? Aphrodite raised an eyebrow at me, shrugged and looked utterly bored. Something like, have you tried? Where would Zoe be without Aphrodite? Her grandma, Heath, Stevie Ray would all be dead without Aphrodite, and she still treats her terribly and talks down to her. Holy crap. Could it be that easy? I mean, I'd be spending all this time looking for a spell or a ritual or something specific and amazing and totally magical, and maybe all I needed to do is just ask Nyx to heal her. And as I stood there basking in my oh my god moment, I heard Nyx's voice echo through my mind, repeating what the goddess had told me a month ago, right before I used my elemental powers to break the blocks Nefre had put in my memory. I wish to remind you that the elements can restore as well as destroy. Of course it would be that easy for Nyx's chosen one. I smiled at him, and if she just applied a bit of thought, and then looked back at the circle. The twins waved at me from their places in the south and west. Eric was standing near the empty spot behind the earth candle. He caught my eyes and winked at me. I smiled back, but wondered why he was standing so close to where he knew Aphrodite was going to be. That last bit, wondered why he was standing... This never picked up on. Why was he standing near Aphrodite? Maybe he was just standing there. Why is she wondering about it? What could that possibly mean? Never picked up on, never mentioned again. Zoe has a dance whilst Lauren recites poetry. I smiled back at him and lifted the lighter. The words that came instinctively to my mind had to have come from Nyx. I'd definitely never been so poetic. Soft and whispering wings from afar, greetings be unto thee. In the name of Nyx I call you to blow clear and fresh and free and call you here to me. Nyx literally tells her what to do in every single aspect of her life. She has no agency. Zoe cast a circle. Aphrodite's face was an emotionless mask. It was only in her eyes that I could see her nervous fear, and I wondered for a second how long she'd been hiding her emotions. Knowing her nightmare parents, I figured it had been a long time. It's going to be okay, I whispered almost without moving my lips at all. I may puke, she whispered back. Most sympathetic character in this whole damn book. I paused and found Eric. I haven't been here very long, but I know a lot of you were really close to Professor Nolan. Eric tried to smile, but his obvious sadness wouldn't let his lips turn up, and he blinked hard to keep the tears that were making his blue eyes sparkly and liquid from falling down his cheeks. And I'm very sure this is the first time she has bothered to acknowledge that Eric would have been gutted by his favourite teacher's death. Eric is an actor, hence why him and Professor Nolan, the drama teacher, were so close, but Zoe's just been too busy thinking about herself and her mundane boy drama. Zoe accepts Aphrodite into the council and Dark Daughters. Zoe finishes the ritual as Eric falls to the floor in pain. Chapter 22. Zoe freaks out thinking that Eric has rejected the change and is dying, but Aphrodite tells her that Eric is completing his change. The whole thing about them standing near each other, why was it mentioned? Was it to show that maybe Zoe was feeling jealous or being suspicious? Never picked up on again. Never. Nefre comes in and eases Eric's pain. Vampires who change, they get their little crescent moon filled in with lots of tattoos. Eric stood up and raised his head. I gasped along with everyone else. His face was luminous. It seemed someone had turned a switch on inside him. He'd been handsome before, but now, of course, he got hotter. But now everything was intensified. His eyes were bluer, and his thick hair was wild and black and dangerous. He even appeared taller, and his mark had been completed. The sapphire crescent was filled in, and framing his eyes, along his brows and over his well-defined cheekbones, was a stunning pattern of interlocking knots that formed the shape of a mask, reminding me instantly of Professor Nolan's beautiful mark. I felt dizzy with the rightness of it. Joyous, he leaves with the adult vampires to get anointed into the service of the goddess, and Aphrodite tells Zoey that. Her voice sounded as bleak as I suddenly felt. Fledglings don't know exactly what happens during the anointing. It's a big vampire secret, and they're not allowed to tell us. She shrugged. Whatever, guess we'll find out someday. I bet they just cast circles. That's all they do in this book. Or we die, I said through numb lips. Or we die, she agreed. Then she looked at me. Are you okay? Yeah, fine, I said automatically. Hey Z, was that cool or what? Jack said. Man, it was incredible. I'm still reeling. Damien fanned himself in his large vocabulary. So Aphrodite is the only person to notice that Zoey is shocked and probably having a traumatic flashback to when Stevie Ray died last month. Zoey's other friends are completely oblivious. Aphrodite is a real one. I wish this series was about her instead. I wouldn't be making this video if it was. Well, maybe, probably, I don't know. Also, I'm not sure if reeling constitutes as having a large vocabulary. Seems pretty standard to me. Damien is worried. Well, it's just that, he hesitated. God, what is it? Just spit it out, I snapped. He flinched at my tone, making me feel like a jerk, but answered me. Well, I don't know much about it, but once a fledgling goes through the change, he leaves the house at night to start his life as a full-grown vampire. What? No exams? Just leave straight up? That's it? You've graduated? Congrats? Sucks, she says. At least for you. Aphrodite raised her brows and shrugged. Makes me glad he dumped me. Then she tossed back her hair and headed toward the food that was set out in the other room. If we can't call her a hag from hell, can we call her a bitch? Shawnee asked. Hateful bitch would be my choice twin. They are just jealous that Aphrodite is the real main character. They were all staring at me, so I tried to smile at them. Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's just a lot to take in. That's all. Let's get something to eat. Before they could do any more comforting, I strode towards the food, with them trailing after me like baby ducks. Zoey and her merry gang of sycophants. Zoey gets all of her friends to go away after the ceremony is completely over, so she can have a good cry. I cried and shook and cried while I hugged my legs hard to my chest and rocked back and forth. I knew what was wrong with me. It surprised me that no one else did, except Aphrodite. Not one of my friends had figured it out. I thought Eric was dying, and it had brought back the night Stevie Ray died in my arms. It was as if it was happening all over again. The blood, the sadness, the horror. It completely blindsided me. I mean, I thought I was over what happened to Stevie Ray. After all, she wasn't really dead. Told you that's why she was feeling bad. And of course, Aphrodite did notice. However, Zoey doesn't care about that nor want to include it because it doesn't fit her. Oh, I'm dealing with everything by myself because I'm that selfless and I have the weight of my world on my shoulders, like chagrined narrative nonsense. Ha! Speaking of nonsense, Lauren appears like a nonce in a playground to comfort her, like a bat out of hell. If the bat was a paedophile. It's not the Great British Isles, it's the pedophiles. Brass Eye, Pedogeddon. Like, go watch it. If you've never seen that, get off this video right now. Go watch Brass Eye, Pedogeddon, and then get back to me. Anyway, yeah, Lauren appears. He smiled. Oh, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Then his expression sobered. When Eric changed, you thought he was dying, didn't you? I nodded, scared that if I'd said anything, I'd start bawling again. Lauren's jaw clenched and unclenched. I told Aphrodite over and over that all fledglings, not just 5th and 6th formers, should be aware of how the change manifests in the final stage, so they're not frightened if they witness it. This confused me because what the hell does any of that have to do with Aphrodite? She's been a disgraced fledgling for at least a month. She got ejected from the Dark Daughters. She's an outcast in the social hierarchy of the school. So how are you going to blame her for what? Surely, if anyone, the teachers should be the ones to tell the students. Also, when does Lauren ever talk to Aphrodite? I am very sure we've never seen it happen. I wonder if this, here's my fan theory. I think this is an error and it may be meant to say Nephire or someone because name dropping Aphrodite doesn't make a single bit of sense. Lauren keeps trying to get Zoey to talk to him and overwhelms her with kisses. He then cuts his chest and gets her to drink his blood. Even if they were the same age. She's just had a huge shock. She's in emotional turmoil as usual. It's not right that he has taken advantage of that. Now it's my turn. I have to taste you, Lauren said. Before I realised what he was doing, he wrenched off my dress. I didn't have a chance to freak out by the fact he was seeing me in nothing but my bra and panties because he took his thumb and this time sliced it across my breast. That bit never sat right with me. It's a bit forward and forceful, isn't it? The blood drinking between them breaks her imprint with Heath and is replaced by an imprint with Lauren, and then they have sex. Chapter 23. Lauren was right. I was exquisite. Who do you think you are? And he'd been right about us. It didn't matter that he was older and a full-grown vampire and a professor at my school. What we had together went beyond all of that. What we had was really special. More special than what I felt for Eric. Even more special than Heath. Oh dear. She's been dicknatized. It was easier this way. For both of us. Another thought had me saying, it's a good thing that I was imprinted with you and Heath at the same time. That would be impossible. Nyx had made it, so we imprint singly. I suppose it's to keep us from making an army of imprinted human minions. Probably would be annoying too, having to juggle all the imprints. Something worth mentioning is when Zoe's imprint with Heath breaks, he very much gets this psychic, I don't know if it's a feeling or a vision of Zoe and Lauren fucking. I think he can feel what's going on as it happens until the imprint breaks. He has this psychic connection. I don't know how clear or whatnot, but he definitely feels that Zoe and someone else are having sex to break it. Zoe keeps downplaying all of this by saying it's for the best that the imprint broke, etc. But that is the worst way I've ever heard of breaking up with someone. Instead of just saying it's not working or just texting someone would be much better than them getting a psychic connection to you as you're not as you're balls deep in someone else, as some guy is balls deep in you. Imagine how he would feel, just being like, oh my god, she's having sex and I can like feel it in my head. That is awful. But of course Zoe doesn't care. She's like, oh, it's for the best because she only ever thinks about herself. Lauren's arms tightened around me and then he lifted me gently and shifted his body so that he could look into my eyes. Can you tell me now? Tell you what, even though I asked the question, I thought I knew what it was he wanted to hear. Tell me what it is that upset you so badly. Ignoring the sudden clenching on my stomach, I made my decision. After what had just happened between us, I had to trust Lauren. Against Nyx's warning, Zoe tells Lauren everything about the red fledglings. The thought flitted through my mind that it was kind of weird that he sounded shocked about me healing Stevie Ray, but that he'd had no problem accepting the fact that undead dead kids existed. Red flag. Zoe subconsciously doesn't say anything about Nephra or Aphrodite, because Nyx has still got her back even though she's going against what Nyx wants. So are you and Aphrodite really friends? Lauren asked the question in an offhand way, with a smile and a tug on one long strand of my hair. But like with Heath, our imprint linked us and I could feel the tension inside him. He cared a lot more about my answer than he was letting on. That worried me, and not just because my gut was cramping up again and warning me to keep my mouth shut. They start to have sex again, but get interrupted by Eric, who goes and then leaves in shock. Zoe goes full Valley Girl. Oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. Zoe freaks out that everyone will find out and she will get kicked out of the Dark Daughters despite being the leader. If she got kicked out of the Dark Daughters for shagging a teacher, but you don't want to be part of this school, dude. They've got to protect you. Lauren threatens to threaten Eric. They go to part ways. I arise from dreams of thee in the first sweet sleep of night, when the winds are breathing low and the stars are shining bright. I arise from dreams of thee, and a spirit in my feet has led me, who knows how, to thy chamber window sweet. His touch made me tremble, and his words made my heart speed up and my head dizzy. Did you write that? I whispered as he kissed my neck. No, Shelley did. Hard to believe he wasn't a vampire, isn't it? Lauren does not recite any of his own or original poetry. He is a hack, or the cast duo just couldn't be bothered. They separate. And then Eric appears from behind a tree or a shadow or something. Chapter 24. I'm so sorry, Eric, I managed to blurt. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't want you to find out like that. Yeah, he said coldly. Finding out my girlfriend, who has been playing oh so innocent with me, is really a slut would have been no problem if you'd, I don't know, advertised it in the school paper. Yeah, that would have been way better. I flinched at his hateful tone. I'm not a slut. Straight for the slut shaming. We love to see it. No, mate. Zoe has been groomed and nonced, though you can forgive Eric for not seeing it that way, because I'm not sure the cast duo actually see it that way either. Also, regardless of said grooming, Zoe has been gaslighting Eric big time about nothing weird going on with Lauren. If there wasn't an age and power imbalance, it would be straight up cheating. It still is cheating, but that is far secondary to the grooming that's taken place. Eric, we didn't mean for this to happen, but Lauren and I are in love. We tried to stay away from each other, but we just couldn't. As if that makes it better. I tried to stay away from him, but I'm in love with him, so instead of doing the right thing and just, breaking up with you, I've decided to really hurt you instead. Doesn't make it any better with fuck off. You've got to be kidding. You actually believe that asshole loves you? He does love me. He barely knows her. They've had 3 conversations together, her and Lauren. Eric shook his head and laughed humorously again. If you believe that, then you're stupider than I am. He's using you, Zoe. There's only one thing a guy like that wants from a girl like you, and he got it. When he's had enough, he'll dump you and move on. He is right, you know. You know, you might be right, he said in a cold, hard voice that made him sound like a stranger. I sure as hell didn't know what I was talking about the whole time I was saying you and I were going out, and the whole time I was telling everyone how great you are, and how happy I was that you were with me. I actually thought I was falling in love with you. Respectfully, this book has taken place over the course of about 2 days. We have seen no real bonding time with Zoe and Eric as she's been so busy juggling everyone else. So his whole, I was falling in love with you, spiel falls flat on the reader because we haven't seen anything substantial between the two of them. All we've really seen is Zoe get annoyed at Eric and then feel bad about it. My stomach twisted. I felt like his words were stabbing me in the heart. I thought I was falling in love with you too, I said softly, blinking my eyes hard to keep from crying. Bullshit! When? When were you? Oh, he says that too. Bullshit, he yelled. He sounded mean even though I could see tears filling his eyes. Stop playing games with me. And you think Aphrodite is a hateful bitch? You make her look like a fucking angel. What has Aphrodite done? She lives rent-free in these people's heads. Eric is all, I never want to see you again, which, fair enough. And then he runs away. Zoe goes to Lauren's loft and hears Lauren laughing. Then she laughed, low and musical and seductive, and my world stopped. It was Neferre. She was in there with Lauren. There was no mistaking that sound, that beautiful, alluring laughter. Neferre's voice was as distinctive as Lauren's. When the laughter stopped, her words came to me, sliding through the crack between the door and frame like a poisonous mist. Oh my God, shock, twist, alert, who could have seen it coming? You've done well, my darling. Now I know what she knows and everything is coming together perfectly. She should be like stroking a cat. It will be a simple thing to continue to isolate her. I just hope the part you have to play isn't too unpleasant for you to... Neferre's voice was teasing, but there was an edge of hardness to it. She's easy to lead around. A shiny present here, a pretty compliment there, and you have true love and a pop cherry sacrifice to the god of deception and hormones. Lauren laughed again. Young girls are so ridiculous, so predictably easy. It was all a setup. He nonced her for a nefarious plan. That is like the worst type of nonsense. He didn't even mean it. Keep her busy. I'll make sure that little gang of friends deserts her. She's powerful, but she'll never be able to tap into her gifts if she doesn't have her friends to help keep her head on straight while she's chasing around after you. Neferre paused and tapped a slender finger under her chin. You know, I was surprised by the imprint though. I saw Lauren's body jerk. Neferre smiled. You didn't think I'd be able to smell it on you? You reek of her blood and her blood reeks of you. I don't know how it happened, Lauren said quickly, the obvious irritation in his voice driving daggers into my heart so I could feel it shattering into tiny pieces. I guess I underestimated my acting abilities. I was just relieved there's nothing real between us. Saved me from the messy emotions and bond that would go with a true imprinting. He laughed. Like the one she had with that human boy. He must have experienced some nasty pain when that was broken. Weird that she was able to imprint so fully with him before she's changed. Of course, Zoe is capable of having a full real imprint because she is so special. But like true supervillains, they exposition for the audience's benefit. Even weirder considering they're about to have sex with each other, but maybe that is their kink. More proof of her power, Neferre snapped. Even though she has been ridiculously easy to lead astray for a chosen one. And don't pretend to complain that she imprinted with you. You and I both know it just made the sex more pleasurable for you. Well, I can tell you that it was damned inconvenient that you sent the gallant Eric to find his little girlfriend so soon. Couldn't you have given me a few more minutes to finish up? I can give you all the time you want. Actually, I can leave right now and you can go find your little teenage lapdog and finish up. Lauren sat up. Leaning forward, he grabbed Neferre's wrist. Come on, baby. You know I don't really want her. Don't be angry with me, love. Isn't Neferre like 200 years old? And Lauren's 25. That's a bit sus too. Wow, was Lauren groomed by Neferre? No, let's not justify any of his actions. But still, that's a little bit sus, isn't it? I mean, she's seen lifetimes. He's seen college. Neferre is happy that Zoe is isolated from Heath. Neferre and Lauren begin to bang, and Neferre sees Zoe through the slightly open door, so Zoe runs away and pukes up. Then Aphrodite shows up. I turned around slowly, like my body might shatter if I moved too fast. Aphrodite was coming out of the sidewalk that led to the dining hall. She was carrying a weird fruit in one hand and a bottle of Corona in the other. What? I like mangoes, she said. Zoe, how have you never seen a mango before? The dorm never has them, but the Vamp's kitchen fruit fridge always does. Like they'll miss a mango here and there. When I didn't say anything, she continued. Okay, I know beer's common and kind of tacky, but I like it too. Hey, do me a favour and don't ever tell my mum. She'd totally freak. Then I saw her eyes widen as she got a good look at me. Holy shit, Zoe, you look awful. What's wrong with you? Zoe tells Aphrodite to buzz off, so Aphrodite is like, okay, bye, and walks off. I was alone. Just like Neferre had said, they were all leaving me. Except you literally just told Aphrodite to piss off, you dolt. And you know what she's like. She's got your back, but she also respects your space. So you can't blame her for leaving. What another self-inflicted problem of Zoe's. Get some self-awareness. Zoe runs off and bumps into Darius the warrior. Is all well with you? He asked in the weird, kind of archaic way that all the warriors all seem to talk. He's like 18. Zoe ended up by the east wall where all the weird shit seems to go down. The east wall is a place of power. How? Why? We'll find out in like 4 books' time. Darius gives her a few words of encouragement and leaves Zoe to pray alone. I was unbelievably sorry. How could I have been so stupid? How could I have fallen for Lauren's lies? I really had believed him. And now I'd not only given the jerk my virginity, but I'd imprinted with him, which made me a double idiot. Yeah, you are a big dum-dum. You barely knew him. It is one thing to barely know someone and have like a cheeky one-night stand. Who hasn't, am I right? But it's another to declare you're in love with someone you don't know. That is folly. But again, she is 17 and immature, so Nala appears to comfort Zoe as she cries. Chapter 25. When I heard the sound of footsteps approaching, I figured it must be Darius coming back to check on me. I tried to get myself under control, wiping my face with my sleeve and attempted to stop crying. Well, crap, Aphrodite, you were right. She does majorly look like shit, Shawnee said. See? Best character. She went off to find Zoe's gang instead. Though, you know when someone like feels bad and is crying and stuff, I don't think it really helps to be like, wow, you look like shit. I do not think it's particularly appropriate to give accolades to Aphrodite for her being right that something is seriously wrong with Zoe. Shut up, you swallowed a thesaurus. No one talks like that. Pretentious shit. Damien, I really wish, Erin began, you'd stop with the damn Sylvan Learning Centre vocab bullshit. I don't know what that is. Shawnee finished for her. Would you two cease and desist and perhaps get a dictionary? Damien said primly. Or thesaurus, that works better. I know it's weird, but their bickering sounded wonderful. That sounds wonderful to you. Also, Zoe is there crying her eyes out. Why are they wasting time bickering? They are the worst. You guys make a pathetic rescue squad, Aphrodite said. Here, she handed me a ball of hopefully clean Kleenex. I'm more nurturing than the 3 of you, and that's a damn shame. No, no one's dead. It's nothing like that. Go ahead and tell us, Damien said, patting my shoulder lightly. Yeah, you know there's not much we can't handle together, Shawnee said. Ditto, twin, Erin said. Spoiler alert, they ditch her next chapter. I took a deep breath and opened my mouth to start the whole horrible story when Jack's perky voice interrupted me. Okay, I found him. Jack scampered up. His cute grin fading a little when he caught sight of me, proving that I really must have looked as bad as I felt. Then he hurried over to sit beside Damien, leaving Eric standing alone, staring down at me. He literally is like a puppy. And I love puppies, so that should be a nice thing. But it's not. Why did Eric bother to show up though? He never wants to see Zoe again. So melodramatic and forced. Fine, I'll tell them. Eric looked at each of my friends. Zee's been fucking Lauren Blake. What? The twins said together. Impossible, Damien said. Nuh-uh, Jack sputtered. Aphrodite didn't say anything. Lauren Blake? Shawnee said, sounding utterly stunned. Mr. Luscious? The guy we've been talking about eating like he was a Dove chocolate bar all semester? Mirroring her twin's tone, she gave me a shocked, horrified look. You must have thought we were completely pathetic. What type of response is that? What, the guy who's like a yummy chocolate bar? What? And also, how did you just make it about her? What, you've been fucking that guy? Oh, you must have thought we were... What are you talking about? Shut up. Also, how did no one, not even Damien, the bookworm, the fancy pants thesaurus man, pick up on the fact that Lauren is a teacher in his mid-20s and Zoe is a teen who just turned 17? And that it's all very noncy. Instead of being concerned about ethics, they are concerned that Zoe was making fun of them to Lauren. That is so contrived. That is so forced. In what universe? Shut up. Why would you immediately think, oh my god, you were fucking that guy who like we don't really speak to, but we speak about sometimes? Oh my god, you must have been making fun of us. What are you talking about? Shut up. I wasn't using you, I said to Eric, surprising myself how strong my voice suddenly sounded. And I never laughed at you two. I promise, I told the twins. Yeah, and your word is something they can really trust, Eric said. She's a lying slut. The way that it just falls so easily from his mouth. She used all of you, just like she used me. All right, time for you to shut up now, Aphrodite said. Eric laughed. Oh, that's perfect. One slut standing up for another. Gets cheated on once, goes full incel mugtow MRA. Just saying. Maybe he was just never that nice to begin with. It's all coming out now, isn't it? Aphrodite's eyes narrowed and she lifted her right hand. The branches of the oak closest to Eric's head swayed down towards him. I heard the warning sounding cracking of wood. You do not want to piss me off anymore, she said. You claim to care so much for Zoe, but you've turned on her like a mangy-ass dog because she hurt your little ego. And I can verify for the masses that it is little. You did what you came here for, and now it's time for you to leave. Whilst Zoe's family... quotations, are too busy thinking about how Zoe being groomed affects them, Aphrodite has her back. True main character. Not that Zoe deserves people having her back, because she is also a venomous, narcissistic misogynist, but Eric has gone full misogynist. But really, we know that his misogyny is just the cast duo's misogyny, because they love calling any and all females hoes and sluts. This entire series is a mess, no matter which way you want to look at it. And with that, Eric wanders off. You've really been with Professor Blake? Damien asked. I nodded. Holy, Shawnee said. Shit, Erin said. He's really, really handsome, Jack said. Jack, that is not the point. Please keep it in your pants. The trapdoor opens and Stevie Ray appears. I walked over to Stevie Ray. She didn't run away from me, but she definitely looked like she could bolt at any second. And she looked like crap too. Her face was too thin and pale. She hadn't combed her curly blonde hair and it looked matted and dull. Well, I'm sure combing her hair isn't the highest on her list of priorities right now. Stevie Ray had received a text from Zoe saying, come to the school, which really means that Lauren had stolen Zoe's phone and sent the text, or, more likely, Neferre. The twins start to cry. I died, Stevie Ray's voice was as pale and lifeless as Damien's face. Then I woke up like this, which, in case you can't already tell, isn't like I used to be. You smell funny, Jack said. Stevie Ray turned her glowing eyes on him, and you smell like dinner. That is rude. If Stevie Ray eats Jack, I will forgive her for trying to kill Aphrodite. We don't have time for this. Neferre put a spell on the perimeter of the school to let her know when any human, vamp or fledgling comes or goes from here. You cross the perimeter, so any second the Sons of Erebus are going to show up. I think you should go. I'll come to you as soon as I can and we can finish this then. Hey Zoe, I hate to contradict you, being as you're having a really shitty day, but I don't think the Warriors are going to come because Neferre doesn't know Stevie Ray's here, Aphrodite said. Huh? I said. Aphrodite's right, Damien said slowly, as if his brain was just then thawing out and starting to work again. Neferre bespelled the perimeter to tell her if it's breached by any human, fledgling or vampire. Stevie Ray isn't any of those things. The spell wouldn't work on her. Bro, how would Neferre not realise this herself? Some supervillain. Why is she here? Stevie Ray said, glaring with hot red eyes at Aphrodite. She's been helping you out this whole time. Get over it. They all hug Stevie Ray. Chapter 26. Hey, nerd herd members who are still alive, Aphrodite called from where she'd retreated to under the big oak tree. I suggest you step away from the undead dead kid. She bites. You bite, Shawnee snapped. Bitch, Erin said. She's telling you the truth, Stevie Ray said. The twins are villains. Let them get eaten. Zoe quickly fills them in on the red fledglings. The twins and Damien were quiet for what seemed like a long time, and then Damien said, You've known about this for a month and you haven't said any of it to us. You let us think that Stevie Ray was dead, Shawnee said. You acted like she thought she was dead too, Erin said. Morons, she couldn't tell you. You have no idea what kind of forces are at work here, Aphrodite said. Yeah, we're not buying this, bitch, Erin said. You've known about this for a month, you haven't said any of this to us. This time Damien didn't phrase it like a question. Aphrodite is right, I said. I couldn't tell you about her. There were extenuating circumstances. There still were. It was better for them not to know that Neferre was behind the whole thing, even if it made them hate me. The thing is, to save yourself a bit of conflict for the beginning of the next book, she might as well have just told them now, and told them to guard their thoughts against Neferre and other psychic vampires. She doesn't tell them this until they make up, in the fourth book. So am I just meant to assume in that time that they haven't been thinking about Stevie Ray, red fledglings once, nor has Neferre not listened in on their thoughts again once? It's forced drama for the plot and it doesn't make sense. I don't care what Aphrodite said. We're your friends, your best friends. You should have told us, Damien said. Extenuating circumstances, Erin said. Seems Aphrodite is suddenly a part of those circumstances. Were there extenuating circumstances when you kept Lauren a secret? Shawnee said. Her voice was guarded. Her dark eyes narrowed at me warily. What does the Lauren thing have to do with any of this? I grabbed Stevie Ray's hand again and held tight as she tried to pull away. Ignoring her, I looked from Damien to the twins. Are you going to help me heal her or not? After only a little hesitation, Damien said, I'll help you, but I don't trust you anymore. Ditto, said the twins together. I can't express how little I care about this. They all suck. Just go away. Their response to all of this craziness is to drop Zoe immediately. They are not good friends to her. Say you were them, and you hear that your dead friend was actually brought back to life as some type of monster who kills people. Of course, something nefarious is going on. Them dismissing it like, oh, there's clearly nothing going on. None of them asked, Who brought the fledglings back? They've immediately jumped to, Zoe, I don't trust you because you've kept this a secret. Surely you'd be like, but who's made them into red fledglings? And for what purpose and what going on? Who's creating a bunch of killing machines? You wouldn't just be like, oh no, I can't believe you've not told us. It's stupid. They are stupid, especially Damien, who I particularly don't like, because we are force-fed how smart he's meant to be all of the time, and yet he can't see, no, there must be something else going on here. As morons, all of them, stupid, forced drama, contrived, hate it. More adjectives. My stomach had rolled back into a sick little tight ball, and I wanted to plop right down there in the grass and cry and beg them, don't stop being my friends, don't stop trusting me. But I didn't. I couldn't. After all, they were right. Instead, I nodded and said, okay, let's cast a circle and get her healed. We don't have any candles, Damien said. I can run and get some, Jack said. He didn't even look at me, but spoke directly to Damien. Sorry, but who the fuck do you think you are? He didn't even know Stevie Ray. What has he got to be mad at? Looks like tonight we do away with ceremony, Damien said, giving me a hard look. Yeah, tonight we do away with a lot of things. I would actually headbutt all of them. Shawnee was watching me, but it felt like her eyes were those of a stranger. Erin nodded in silent but complete agreement with her. This drama is killing me. They cannot have been that good friends in the first place. And besides this situation, don't anyone dare say they were disappointed in her for cheating on Eric with Lauren, because none of them cared that she was cheating on him with Heath. None of them. They go to cast yet another circle, but with Aphrodite as Earth, but Stevie Ray keeps having a temper tantrum about it. I turned my back on Sense of the Sea and walked over to Aphrodite. She met my gaze steadily and smiled grimly at me. It sucks to have your friends pissed at you, doesn't it? She said it quietly, so that only I could hear her. Yeah, I whispered back. I'm sorry that I had something to do with your friends getting pissed at you. Nah, she shook her head. It wasn't you. It was my stupid, shitty choices. Just like it's your stupid, shitty choices that got you into this mess. Accountability queen. The clean, sweet sense of a spring meadow swirled around Aphrodite and me. I was still smiling when I turned to move back towards the centre of the circle and complete the casting by calling Spirit when Stevie Ray broke. No! The word was an almost unrecognisable snarl of rage and despair. She can't be Earth. I'm Earth. It's all that's left of me. I won't let her take it away. With blinding swiftness, Stevie Ray hurled herself onto Aphrodite. No, Stevie Ray, stop it, I cried, trying to pull Stevie Ray off her, but it was like trying to move a marble column. She was too strong. Aphrodite had been right. So she's turned into a Twilight vampire, and Stevie Ray is the worst. She bites Aphrodite, who starts screaming. So much for the amazing sons of Erebus who have not noticed any of this ruckus going on. I think you would hear screams in a field. I can't, Damien cried. I can't move. We can't either, Shawnee said. The three of them had been rooted in place by their elements. Damien was being pressed to the ground by a furious wind. Shawnee was surrounded by a cage of fire. Erin was suddenly encased in a pool of bottomless water. What on earth does that mean? What does that look like? It makes me think of the elemental creature in FF10 that you have to beat in the forest just before you go to the ice part. You know what I mean. Zoe finishes the circle and then she says a bunch of poetic crap to heal Stevie Ray. Like I was throwing a ball, I hurled at Stevie Ray the sizzling elemental power that I felt between my hands. At that moment, I felt a searingly familiar pain ripple from the base of my spine all the way around my waist. My scream echoed Stevie Ray's. Another tattoo. For what? I opened my eyes to a bizarre sight. Aphrodite had fallen to the ground during Stevie Ray's attack. Stevie Ray's back was to me, so I could only see Aphrodite's face. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. They were surrounded by a swirling, glowing ball of power made up of all the 5 elements. The 2 girls kept fading in and out of focus as the power rolled and thickened around them. But I could see that Stevie Ray was no longer holding on to Aphrodite. Now it was Aphrodite who was clutching Stevie Ray and forcing her to keep drinking from the wound on her neck. Stevie Ray was still drinking her blood, but she was struggling to stop, trying to pull away. Aphrodite, let her go. She's trying to stop before she kills you, I cried. Aphrodite's eyes met mine. Her lips didn't move, but I heard her voice clearly inside my head. No, this is how I make up for everything I caused. This time it's me who is chosen. Remember, I made this sacrifice freely. You would have thought that Aphrodite once killed someone, the amount of self-flagellation she has to go through. This is so disproportionate to what has actually provably happened in the story. She was a high school bully. So what? Stevie Ray has been eating humans. Zoe has killed up to 3 people by now. Neferre is a psycho. And Lauren is a nonce. So why is Aphrodite the only one having to seek constant atonement? Then Stevie Ray looked up at me. She was crying pink-tinged tears and her eyes were still a strange reddish colour. But her face was her own again. Even before she spoke, I knew that whatever Neferre had broken in her when she'd caused her to become the walking, talking dead had been healed. I killed her. I tried to stop. She wouldn't let me go and I couldn't pull away. Oh, Zoe, I'm so sorry, she sobbed. I go to jail, piss off. Stevie Ray's mark is filled in, but with scarlet ink, not sapphire. Don't fret, Aphrodite isn't actually dead. Chapter 27. Gee, that's so damn nice of you two, Aphrodite said. She glanced up at the twins with a half smile on her face, and I got a first good look at her. My stomach dropped somewhere around my ankles. It's gone, I gasped. Oh shit, Zoe's right, Damien said, staring at Aphrodite. What? Aphrodite said. What's gone? Oh, Shawnee said. Yep, it is gone, Erin said as she handed Aphrodite some tissue. What the hell are you guys blabbering about now? Aphrodite said. No one talks like this. No one. Whenever the little gang got all together, the dialogue becomes unbearable. Aphrodite's Nyx's mark, the crescent moon thing, is gone, and this is something that has never ever ever happened, and the stupid twins and Damien are busy vague booking, being all, wow, it's gone. You wouldn't be like that in this situation. If something unprecedented had happened, you'd be like, what the fuck, where did your mark just go? You'd be like that. You wouldn't be like, oh wow, it's gone, for some sort of dramatic reveal. This is not realistic dialogue. I've never ever heard of anything like this happening, not in any book, not anywhere, Damien said. Once you're marked, you can't just get unmarked. It's how Stevie Ray was healed. Aphrodite sounded dazed, and she kept touching the empty spot in the middle of her forehead. Nyx took it from me and gave it to Stevie Ray. A horrible shudder passed through Aphrodite's body, and now I'm nothing but a human again. She scrambled to her feet, dropping the mirror. I have to leave. I don't belong here anymore. She started backing woodenly towards the open trapdoor, eyes wide and glassy. Aphrodite has done nothing to deserve that. I really dislike how much Nyx shits on Aphrodite. She's expected to be put through crap constantly to atone for her sins of being a high school bully. It's actually ridiculous. Aphrodite runs away crying and triggers the alarm. Stevie Ray decides to leave to look after Aphrodite, but Stevie Ray doesn't trigger the alarm though. Don't tell them about Aphrodite or Stevie Ray, I said. My friends looked at me like I just said, maybe we shouldn't tell our parents about that little beer drinking episode. No shit, Shawnee said sarcastically. We were just going to spill our guts, Erin said. Yeah, because we can't be trusted to keep secrets, Damien said. Well, crap. They were definitely still mad at me. They'll get over it, give it a day. But this book's pacing, give it a few pages. Before I could protest, Shawnee added, yeah, we won't say anything about the disappearing act her Mark played. We'll just say she came out here with us and got annoyed at all of Zoe's blubbering. And self-pity, Erin added. And lies. So she took off. As per typical for Aphrodite, Damien finished. She might get in trouble, I said. Yeah, well, consequence is a bitch, Shawnee said. A bitch who is clearly following some people pretty closely, Erin said, giving me a sharp look. Aphrodite has just had her life irrevocably changed and possibly ruined, and the twins still want to be a dick about her. They aren't sassy, they are a pair of bullies, and I've been saying this for 3 books now. The warriors and Darius appear. Nephre has called an assembly, so they are all escorted back to the school. Meekly, we followed Darius. I tried to catch Damien's eye, but he wouldn't look at me. Neither would the twins. It was like I was walking with strangers. Worse, actually. Strangers might at least smile and say hi. If a stranger smiled at me, in London, I would call the police. Zoe is suddenly hit with pain. Pain speared from my stomach to my heart. Was I dying? I wasn't coughing up blood. Could I be having a heart attack? The pain is so bad, Zoe thinks she's about to die. She feels like her heart is being ripped out from her body, which is an awesome heavy metal way to go, but then suddenly she feels fine. Zoe comes up with a bad lie on the spot. I lifted my chin and swallowed every last bit of my pride. I have gas. A lot of it. Ask my friends. Darius turned to the twins and Damien. Yep, she's one gassy girl, Shawnee said. Miss Smelly, that's what we call her, Erin said. She really is extraordinarily flatulent, Damien said. Grow the fuck up. What was that all about? Damien whispered, come up beside me. I have no clue, I whispered back. No clue, Shawnee said quietly. Or you know, but won't tell us, Erin murmured. Why should she tell the twins anything regardless? They couldn't keep it secret the whole Heath thing earlier. As we walked through the front door, Jack joined us. He wouldn't even look at me. Jack barely qualifies as a secondary character. He is in no position to be uppity. I looked around to see if Eric was glaring at me from somewhere in the room, but I didn't see him anywhere. I did see poor little Ian Bowser, who was sitting in the front row, red-eyed and looking like he'd just lost his best friend. I definitely knew how he felt. Who the hell is that? Nephre appears. It is true that there are many more humans than vampires, and because of our smaller numbers, they underestimate us. But I promise you this, if they murder just one more of our brothers or sisters, I will declare a state of war against them. She had to wait until the warriors' cheers quieted before she could continue, and she didn't seem to mind. It will not be an outright war, but it will be deadly, and conveniently for Nephre, Darius shows up to inform her that Lauren Blake has been found nailed to the front gate. That's why Zoe was in pain. Lauren was being murdered, but by who? Well, you'll have to watch the book forward to find out. It's pretty obvious though. I could only nod. All my attention was focused on Nephre, who had continued speaking. Lauren was disemboweled and then decapitated. Disemboweled? That is hardcore. His death gets blamed on the people of the faith. As I was saying when this tragic news reached us, it will not be an outright war, but it will be deadly and we will be victorious. Perhaps it is time that vampires take their proper place in this world, and that proper place is not being subjugated by humans. I don't think the vampires are subjugated by humans. Vampires have all of the fame, artistry, wealth, their own islands, laws, governments, etc. The human world doesn't dominate them. They coexist together, albeit uneasily. Also, Stevie Ray has been murdering humans for a whole month now, but no one in the human world cares enough about that to go to war over it. Zoe runs off to be sick again and cry again. Nefre appears to be a douchebag again. It's your fault, little sloths! Then Nefre turned back to me. Lauren's dead because of you. He could feel how upset you were, and when the perimeter was breached, he assumed it was you running away from the little scene I orchestrated between you and your poor, shocked Eric. She said it with a sarcastic sneer. Lauren went out to find you, and because he was looking for you, Lauren was killed. Pretty sure it's your fault. I shook my head, letting my anger and disgust drown out my pain and fear. You caused all of this. I know it, you know it, and more importantly, Nyx knows it. This is the same ending we got in book 2. I straightened my spine. Focusing on the 5 elements, I raised my hands, palms out, and without touching Nefre, I shoved. The high priestess was thrown backwards, stumbled, lost her footing, and fell smack on her butt. As several warriors burst out of the auditorium to help her to her feet, I bent, pretending like I was making sure she was okay, and whispered, "You might want to reconsider pissing me off, old woman." "This isn't over between us," she hissed. "For once, I totally agree with you," I said. "Yeah, you sure told her. That'll teach her a lesson, I guess." I didn't wait for the twins and Damien to come out and ignore me. I turned my back on all of them and headed towards my dorm. I was brought up short when Eric stepped out of the shadows at the edge of the auditorium. He is always hanging around the shadows like some sort of peeping Tom. Stop it. He shook his head, but more in surprise than in disbelief. "Nefre, she's... He stuttered, glancing over my shoulder at the mob that still surrounded the high priestess. "She's an evil bitch? Are those the words you're searching for?" "Yeah, she is." It felt good to say it. It felt especially good to say it to Eric. I wanted to explain more to him, but his next words stopped me. "This doesn't change what you did." "Sure it doesn't, but look, no offense. Actually, full offense. Get over yourself. Your high priestess, turning out to be an evil nutjob who has just declared war on humans and humanity, is far more important than your stupid little girlfriend of 1 month shagging someone else that she was also groomed into because it was set up by the... Sort it out. Get your priorities right." Zoe starts listing to us everything that's happened as if we didn't just fucking read it. 6. I wasn't done lying to them because I still couldn't let them know the truth about Nefre. Why not? If Nefre listens to their thoughts, she is going to know that they know about the red fledglings, and that already puts them in danger, so you might as well just give them a heads up. Zoe is stupid. So by default, the caster is stupid. Believe in yourself, daughter. Get ready for what is to come. I yelped as the goddess's voice floated from my mind. Great. Get ready for what is to come did not sound good. I looked at Nala and sighed. Nyx needs to just stop beating around the bush and make Zoe a super duper vampire like now, so she can crush Nefre like a twig. Done. Remember when we thought that me having a sucky birthday was our biggest problem? And that was all of 2 days ago. The pacing in these books suck. Nala sneezed directly in my face, making me laugh while I said ew and hurried into my room, going for the box of Kleenex I kept on my bedside table. As usual, Nala summed up my life kind of perfectly. Kind of funny, kind of gross, and more than kind of messy. You are both kind of stupid. That is it. The end. I did it. My jaw feels like it's going to dislocate. It feels like it needs to pop, but I don't want it to because I hate when your jaw pops. But that, believe it or not, is it for today's video. We got through it. We did it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if I'll do book 4. I'm going to do book 4 regardless, but still remember to like, comment, subscribe. My voice sounds like it feels like it's going. Remember to check out the sponsor, Like Me. Thank you for sponsoring today's video. Check out all of my other channels, podcast channel, whatever. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm going to go pop my jaw out of my face now. Bye.